Today on the ScreenBlast podcast, How to Train Your Dragon gets the live action treatment, a popular comedian gets cast in the upcoming Lilo and Stitch movie, and the Antman Quantumania hits theaters. Did Phase 5 start off with a bang? This is ScreenBlast. I'm joined with Mark. And of course,
he would not let that die.
And Martin.
I couldn't think of anything. I was looking on something on my phone. I was like, I gotta think of something funny.
What you guys didn't hear, what you didn't see is he was streaking naked simultaneously. So, scarring to the podcast eyes, not to the listeners. Martin.
And they were looking at me unrespectfully. I feel violated.
I have to post this to my Twitter. Martin, how are you?
Hey, hi, hello, I'm fine.
A little less extreme on the introduction there.
Sorry, I just saw a naked man streaking through here. I'm not really patient right now.
You know what's sad? I can't.
You guys make me feel uncomfortable. I'm putting my clothes back on.
You know what's sad is I can't even say never again. I wish I could, but I can't. All right, are they back on now? I'm not looking. I'm closing. I'm keeping my eyes closed. All right, let's get into.
It was a naked costume the whole time.
Are you sure it was a costume, Mark?
It was a fursuit. All right, get off my back.
I didn't even want to see your back. Like, fucking Jesus Christ. Anyway, let's get into the ScreenBlast briefing, get through all this, and then get to the Ant-Man Quantumania.
I'm just thinking about the end of SpongeBob episode when he was indoors and they were getting attacked by a gorilla. It just zooms out to the TV set and you see a family just like looking at each other like, what the fuck was that?
Absolutely. That's the best. Absolutely. Boy, yeah, man. So, I don't know if any of you guys have been keeping track, but Lilo and Stitch was already announced about 2 years ago to get a live-action movie, and that's true, that's actually happening. But now we know, interestingly, that Zach Galifianakis from The Hangover is going to be in a starring role. The question is he going to be someone that's cast in the live action film as a person, or is he actually Stitch? Because originally Stitch was going to have his own voice actor, and maybe his voice actor is still there, the original voice actor from the old movies, but I don't know if they want to have him speak now with Zach doing it.
No, what I was going to say is for some reason what just came to my head is or is he actually Stitch? I was thinking about him just being in a fucking like a Disneyland mascot costume.
Just walking around in the movie, just...
Hey, I'm Stitch! Come on!
Buy some tickets. Yeah, man.
They should do that instead of a CG creature.
He's not...
He's going to be cast as Lilo. He's going to be cast as Nani.
Clearly.
It's gonna work.
No! Don't do that. You know what I just... You know what I noticed, ladies and gentlemen? I noticed that Martin got very upset only when Nani was mentioned. As if I think Nani is one of the most important characters to this movie for Martin. I don't know why. In fact, that's true.
You know exactly why.
I heard they're going to cast her as a new as a male this time.
What?
You know, Disney's being progressive. They're casting a lot of characters.
Shut the fuck.
But in terms of being progressive, I hope they don't over advertise Pleakley as I don't know, a trans character or something. Because I like Pleakley was just kind of there, but it was progressive at the time, but without even knowing it was.
Right.
But I hope Disney doesn't over advertise. I'm look, we got a trans character in our movie. Give us your money, trans people. We respect you.
That is a good point.
All in Morty's voice too, man. That was great.
Yeah, I wonder who he's going to play, but yeah, that's a good point with Pleakley, because you're right. He was very defensive and protective over things that people wouldn't really care for in the Federation there. But overall, man, Lilo and Stitch to me is a god tier Disney film. It is one of the best movies that has ever come out when I've been alive. I've always been hesitant about the fact that Lilo and Stitch is getting the live action treatment, but I mean, look, I'll have to see in the first trailer when it comes out. Apparently, I think this is next year, so we'll see it. But
well, like I know, like they can no way. It's gonna be like a Sonic thing. Well, it's gonna be worse than Sonic thing because Stitch has to be cute. He has to be cute. He can't like look creepy in any way imaginable. Like whatever CG thing they make. Like if you don't say "aw" when it's in like its dog form, then like they're doing something wrong because that's the appeal of Stitch.
Yeah,
because like they're Stitch is really popular and also in other countries, and I think Disney know that like Pokemon like creatures are very popular in Japan. Just like mythical creatures in general. So they're advertising the heck out of Stitch everywhere. And they're catching in on like, oh, this is popular. We can do this in America too.
Right.
So like, I think it started like 5 years ago. We just started getting Stitch merchandise everywhere. And we don't even have any new like tie-in content. Like there's no new Stitch show, no new Stitch movie.
No.
But like, you're seeing it in like, it's not just Disney World. It's like Five and Below and stuff.
That's right.
Like we're getting like Stitch content. Even McDonald's had like little Stitch, like cute little Stitch, like backpack hangers, but there was no tie-in. It was just here's Stitch. We're marketing Stitch
just as a character.
Yeah, just as a character, and it's like it's because they're realizing this is a popular design.
Absolutely. I mean, people forget how valuable the Lilo and Stitch IP, or just Stitch in general IP, was in the 2000s, and that's just carried.
Yeah. The funny thing is, like they're just marketing just Stitch, and he has like 625 other marketable cousins, and it's like why are they like we're getting all the Stitch merchandise? Where's all the other cousins?
We now know that Stitch is experiment 626. But whatever happened to the other 625?
Besides Stitch, in the one movie that only four or five of them showed up in that one movie. The rest of them showed up in the series, so it's not like anyone's.
I know it's still marketable. I would like a plushie of like Sandwich Love and 625.
Yeah, who's this? And they're like, who's this?
Well, I will say that
there's still good designs. Some of them are hit and miss, but like there's still some that like have good designs. It's like I'll take a plushie of that.
Hey man,
like 625. I like 625. The sandwich making dude. Yeah. I'll take a plushie of him any day.
Hey man, you put a T-shirt Disney. You just make a T-shirt that says "I'm still hungry." And then you have 625 below "I'm still hungry" with whatever fucking color you want.
Yeah.
Guess what? You're probably selling 500,000.
Well, yeah, but again, he's one of the iconic ones. Along with 625, 62, the electric one. I don't know what number.
Pikachu.
Yeah. Pikachu. Yeah.
You just say the electric one. The only other plushie I've seen, is Angel, the pink one.
Right.
And she only appeared in one episode.
Right.
Like it's got a couple.
She got one episode.
No, she got a couple because like they brought her back near the end of the series. Well, it was just near the end of the series because it was like when the series is wrapping up, it was like we forgot about what about all the other aliens Gantu captured? All right, let's get those out before the end.
Oh snap! We have more. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know. Lilo and Stitch. We'll see it when it comes out. Either way, it is one of Disney's in the 21st century alone, Lilo and Stitch is by far one of their most valuable IP, just in terms of how many sequels, spin-off shows, books, graphic novels, like we said, merchandising, content, video games. It's one of their most valuable IP. It's
a very marketable design, like I said.
Absolutely. So seeing it in the future, that's going to be...
when this movie comes out, we're probably going to see like a new Stitch Mania. So it's going to be like, they're already marketing Stitch already without any tie-in. With a tie-in, we're gonna see it even more.
Going up against Girl Good.
Oh my god! Yeah, 100% right. That's the way it's gonna be.
And another thing I want to bring up is like it's also like a constant summon in the Kingdom Hearts games, because Kingdom Hearts summons it's like you only get a couple characters from like 80s to the 90s movies. But like Stitch is the only 2000s character that that's a returning summon in some of the games.
Well, Japan.
Interesting.
Yeah, they love Stitch.
Pokemon-esque.
I know. Japan has their own Stitch anime, and China has their own Stitch anime.
Just Stitch?
Yeah, absolutely. That's right. Yeah. Well, no, Tono and so Japan has Tono and Stitch as well, which is a manga where they go back to the period with where Ghost of Tsushima is from.
What?
And it's Stitch in that time period. And so that's very interesting. Like they've gone all over the place with Lilo and Stitch.
Are you lying to me right now?
No, because I did a video on it. You can find on etdemocracy.com, ladies and gentlemen.
I need to watch that. If we get if this series leads into more another TV show, like I can use more Stitch in my life.
It was a graphic novel, not a series.
Stitch wielding a katana.
So he wasn't. Well, no, he doesn't hold a katana, but it's a manga kind of. It's not anything animated.
Okay.
Yeah, don't go looking for that. That's not real. But
yeah, like if I hope like this movie like leads into like if it's good, it leads into like a Disney Plus show of Stitch. I can use more Stitch in my life.
Yeah,
I love that character too. That world and character still great to me.
Yeah, and there are quite a few methods that we've seen so far in the past 10 years that have worked when it comes to a live-action CGI character working together with a human in live-action. For instance, I think the Sonic movie nails it very well. You get very functional actors that work with CGI puppets, and you're just going to have a solid movie. Like, I think that, as much as I don't like the human characters in Sonic the Hedgehog the movie, I think that they would just bounce off Sonic well, and it's not really a problem, especially the cop, more specifically from the first movie. It's not a chore.
Also, the TV show was good. I grew up on that TV show.
Oh, yeah.
And it had like 4 crossovers, which was awesome. Crossover with Kim Possible, Proud Family, American Dragon, and Recess.
Yeah. You just knew those were out the bat.
With Recess?
Yes.
Holy shit.
That was the one. That was the only one they didn't advertise, and I found out later. And like
I remember the Proud Family.
Later,
I've been watching the Kim Possible one.
Definitely the Kim Possible one.
The American Dragon one was the first one.
Rufus is an experiment.
Yeah. Right. No, they deconfirmed that.
Deconfirmed it?
Yeah.
They confirmed it? Oh.
Yeah, he's not actually an experiment. Because also, they in Leroy and Stitch, the last movie of Lilo and Stitch, they have like a list of names, and Rufus is not on there. Also, I looked it up somewhere. It was deconfirmed. The experiment they were thinking about was somebody else.
That's cool.
But Rufus is not. It wouldn't make any sense because there's a flashback in Kim Possible, and one of the Kim Possible movies where Ron is a kid and Rufus is like a little freaking.
That's not.
Yeah, but it could just been activated, and then somebody.
Oh no, the thing is, the experiments got activated on Earth, not too far after
the events of
Lilo and Stitch and Kim Possible gang are kids and they're older than Lilo.
Right, it's just not. It
wouldn't line
up. It doesn't happen. No, stop. It's not.
You're just making fanfic at that point.
Give me a second.
It's like all right.
I can make it work.
Another thing I want to bring up is okay, so the whole series is about Lilo and Stitch looking for their cousins, right?
Yes.
All the experiments are cousins. So, what is going on between Stitch getting with Angel? I mean,
okay, so Mark, what I want to let you know is when we reviewed Megan, Mark was the only one to bring up that adults were more likely to buy the Megan toy. Now he is theorizing. That the cousins of the experiments have had sexual activity with each other, thus having interesting situations. Get your head.
I'm not worried. I just want to know answers. I'm just kidding.
I'm not a part of this conversation.
I think either way, we're curious how Lilo and Stitch, the live-action translation, turns out. And let's move on.
Yes, the world believes the dragons are gone, if they ever existed at all. But we Burkians, we know otherwise. And we'll guard the secret until the time comes when dragons can return in peace.
Another animated film franchise is getting a live-action treatment, and this is over at Universal. That is How to Train Your Dragon. This is likely one of DreamWorks' most successful franchises outside of, they've had quite a few in the past 20 years, whether it's Madagascar, Shrek, the list goes on and on. But here goes How to Train Your Dragon getting a full live action treatment. This is the first time from Universal that we're getting that. And it's going to be actually deeply invested in by the original writers. You have the original animated trilogy's filmmaker, Dean DeBlois, coming back to write and direct this. So the guy that was directing the animated films is on this project. This has a release date, by the way, of March 14th, 2025. This is a couple of years out. What do you guys think of this project? This might be great. It might be magical. And we were even talking about, Mark, we were both wondering where does this idea source from?
Yeah, I was about to say we were arguing about this in the group chat.
Yeah,
because you said like it's mostly.
I said it was based. I believe that it's the inspiration from the fact that Disney does a lot of animated live action translations. Because of the fact that their animated films are not only successful but are so nostalgically seen. Whereas Mark, your vantage point was.
See it, but like the thing is, How to Train Your Dragon is like late 2000s.
Yeah, and
like that audience of where Disney's keep making remakes is like, I guess since Stitch is being remade, you can say from like 2000s and before, where it like. The only movie that would like DreamWorks can remake that probably hit that audience is that with a popular like following is
Road to El Dorado. Oh,
Shrek.
I would much rather a Road to El Dorado.
I mean, I don't think their 2D movies are that big of a cult following.
They're not, but if I tell you what, if Universal greenlit that,
everybody only wants Road to El Dorado for Shell.
What? The adventure, Mark.
The lady that wears a diaper.
The adventure. What are you talking about? That's
even the animators are horny for her.
I think this is the 4th episode that we brought.
We did?
This is the 4th episode we brought her up. Either way, though,
I promise I'm not horny.
But your vantage point was the fact that it's more, you think, based from House of the Dragon, the success of
medieval fantasy. And I kept giving it like a personal funny name. I call it Dragon Fantasy, and you was like, Mark, Game of Thrones didn't have dragons until later in the season. I was like, yeah, well, it's medieval fantasy, all right? I just kept calling it Dragon Fantasy.
They're also, not getting back on this track. It was also a different allure that, Game of Thrones brought to the audiences. It's much older direction, whereas this, I think, is much more based into that same direction, animated-wise.
I think it's going to be they're going to, like, serious it up a bit in terms of, like, tone, if it's going to be in live action. So I think, because, like, what I imagine in my head is going to be, like, it's going to be similar in, like, tone and, like, I guess, aesthetic to
Avatar, the live-action movie.
No, to Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Because that's the only reason. That's the only thing that comes to my head is like live action medieval fantasy, and that's the most recent
representation
of it. And it's like that has a big audience, and like you mentioned, it's popular on stream, but the audience is still there. If they were to put like a Game of Thrones the movie in theaters, the audience would follow.
No, I mean that's a $1 billion hit that I'm surprised they haven't done.
Yeah,
but I just think that this is all based around a theatrical kid audience with parents that recognize the property, and I don't think that these two cross necessarily. Because the allure of the dragons, it's more than just the allure of the dragons, I think, that's just where I think it's more Harry Potter than it is.
I wouldn't say there's that much like longing and nostalgia for it because 3 was not that long ago. 3
was 2019 now.
Yeah, it was not that long ago.
I mean, that was pre-COVID, Mark. That's like years. That's ancient.
Oh yeah, I guess whoever was a kid and watching 3 was probably an adult right now. You're right.
Well, I'm saying just watching the first one, 2010.
I know. I'm saying is like in terms of like content from that franchise, it just doesn't feel like it's been gone for that long.
Yeah, it's not that long.
I don't think the nostalgia will hit the same. Unlike, even like a property like Shrek. We just got Puss in Boots, but like, anything in the main Shrek timeline, we haven't had anything in a while. So if you like bring out like Shrek again, like Shrek's back, and like the audience for Shrek's gonna be like Shrek's back.
Yeah,
and like that's the same thing Disney's trying to hit with their animated franchises. It's like when it's Aladdin, like Hey, kids who grew up watching Aladdin movie, Aladdin's
Watch
back.
this trash.
Aladdin's back.
Watch this trash. The man that slapped his friend. Watch this.
Hey, everyone who watched Lion King, Lion King's back. It's back. Yup. Live action. Go see the movie now. Like that's what Disney's trying to hit, and it's like. I can't see for this DreamWorks making a commercial like everyone who grew up watching How to Train Your Dragon, it's back, and like, oh, again, okay,
Yeah. What about?
No, mine was directly what he was saying earlier about how close it was. The last movie was. I'm like, this is like The Last of Us close together type.
The remake, remaster,
Yes.
remaster part.
Yeah,
remake,
like
part
that
4,
just
yeah.
that's it just ended, especially with and with the special that came out a little bit later after that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just like, it's a little too early. Also, there's nothing sacred, man. It's How to Train Your Dragon is one of those movies that don't need a remake. It doesn't need it. It is. It's pretty what it is. And like I also like he earlier saying, and they'll make it a more serious tone. There were already serious things happening.
Yeah.
In the series, in the movies,
In the movies, yes.
From him losing his leg.
Father, his leg,
Then to lose his father.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't need to be any more serious. We had it when we were watching. We were adults when we were watching it, right? Like I was an adult when I was watching it. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I was when they came out, I was already an adult, and I was watching it. I was like, "Oh, this is good." Especially not the second movie so bad, since somebody spoiled that for me.
That's trash because the second movie is so good.
Someone spoiled Stoic Staff, and I was just like,
Oh, what an asshole! Who the fuck? That caught me by surprise.
Yeah, the thing about How to Train Your Dragon is like I'll be like if they like I'm not offended by like it being remade like I would be with like. I guess I know. I guess I don't know if offend is the right word, but like, I guess like not caring for like the Disney movies because with the Disney movies being remade, it's like we're gonna remake Lion King. Why? It was already good and
It was the best. It was probably one of the best movies you've ever made.
No, it works as a cartoon.
Yes.
We're gonna remake Beauty and the Beast. It works. It works as a cartoon, but like How to Train Your Dragon was trying to be realistic in general. So it's like if they're making a live action remake, it's gonna be like for me, it's gonna feel like a 4K upscale. I'm like, okay, I'm curious how they make the sets and stuff. I want to see how this works. You can because like I can see this being translated to like a live action movie because it's realistic to begin with. These Disney movies that are remade, they're cartoony as hell, right. And it's like you're translating this.
They're also a bit fanciful as well.
Yeah, fanciful, and it's like most of these they don't translate to live action well, and you got some instance like Beauty, like you got some instance like Lion King where it's just boring, and you got instance like Beauty and the Beast where it's just creepy, and like How to Train Your Dragon, like I'm fine with this. Like I'm curious. I'll see it.
I'm not saying the movie's gonna be bad or anything.
Oh yeah,
because you said everyone who made the originals are basically coming back at this point.
Well, the key member, Dean DeBloy. By the way, he also made Lilo and Stitch, and he's not on their project. He's not on that live action project at all. Disney did not want him back, but Universal.
The same person made Lilo and Stitch made
original Lilo and Stitch is not on the live action. That live action.
I know. Did he also? He
wrote and directed How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh my god! I never knew that. So that makes so much sense because everyone kept comparing. Toothless to Stitch, and there's so much there's so much fan art of those two together.
That's cool.
And it's like, okay, I guess they're cute characters. I don't get the connection. It's like, oh, there was a connection the whole time. And like, damn, I didn't know.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just think what I would rather have seen it seems that no one's doing this yet. We'll get this eventually, but I went and watched a couple clips of Toy Story when you were talking about last episode the Sid concept that you had about Toy Story 5, which they're never going to do, but is an interesting idea. Well, yeah, what I would definitely prefer is that studios like Pixar or DreamWorks just upscale their animation from the 90s, because a lot of these things are really, really, really looking dated. Like Toy Story 1 looks bad now, and it's unfortunate. It's just not timeless anymore. This thing is like not. Dragons looks good, kind of, but that animation style from 2010, 2009 DreamWorks definitely isn't timeless forever.
That'd be interesting, like how we do video game remakes, just doing that's a movie remake.
But computer animated movies are the perfect place where you take something from when you're just getting started. I mean, like I said, original Toy Story or even Shrek, dude. Like I love the first Shrek. And the comedy almost makes me ignore how dated it looks. But there comes a time where you just need to remake those things, remaster them instead of remake. I don't need a live action translation. I agree with you guys. It's too early for something like Dragons. In fact, I would prefer they go into their 2D lineup and just make live action to those. Those are significantly more based on just grounded realism. Prince of Egypt. Obviously, there's a lot of fun with Road to El Dorado. Sinbad is fun. It's just fun. You make that into a live action movie, that's fun.
I mean, honestly, I would like
but they're not going to revisit those because a lot of them didn't make money, and so that's unfortunate.
Honestly, with these movies, I would like you said like a remaster, like upscaling. No, I would like a reboot reimagining of certain franchises.
Yeah, that's what I was
give me a new How to Train Your Dragon, like the same story, but reimagine it as in like rewrite it to like it goes into a different direction and give it a different animation style. So like something like Spider-Verse. You can make it more fantasy too. Probably make it more cartoony and fantasy. That'll be cool. How to Train Your Dragon and put some boot style.
I wouldn't even have to have them use the same characters though. I would have them use totally different characters. A total different setup. I know they're already doing it with a couple of series, but those series they can come up with something way better for a movie.
Yeah,
like I think.
I know Tangled did that. I don't think they executed it well. I don't like the second film's animation style, what Tangled did, but that idea definitely works.
Oh yeah, we were talking about my Sid pitch. After we're done with this How to Train Your Dragon concept, I want to give you my Monsters Inc. sequel pitch. All right.
Are you serious? You want to do that?
Yeah.
You might as well drop it on
real
us.
quick.
Go ahead.
All right. I gave you my like horror movie Sid pitch last podcast. So here's my Monsters Inc. pitch for the sequel.
ScreenBlast exclusive.
All right. So Mike and Sully they do their job. They make a kid laugh and they leave the door. But like somebody accidentally leaves the door open, and out of the door comes a pedophile, and he gets loose into the monster's world, and he has access to every kid's door.
Oh my god!
And Mike and Sully has to stop him. In the climax of the movie, the pedophile calls all of his other his predator friends, and and Mike and Sully have to stop him from going through every kid's closet, and then Sully remembers the stakes is higher, and Sully remembers, oh no, boo, she's in her room.
What does he stop the pedophile steps before?
Oh yeah, and then, dude, the plot twist ending is random. He's like, ha! I called the pedophiles.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mark's movie pitch number 2.
He lost me at P.
I was curious where you were gonna go, and then you said pedophile. I was like, oh, Pixar.
Yeah, dude, the stakes are high because they have access to every kid's closet.
That is just, I can't. The question is, would the pedophiles try to fuck the aliens first? You know.
And they probably have on their computers they have data this door belongs to this kid, this door belongs to this kid.
They've written it that quickly because they're so excited. Oh my god! All right, let's move.
To get your idea over to the dude who made the Winnie the Pooh movie. He'll be so like
I've heard that movie's boring as fuck, and not even a bad good.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I ain't going 2 feet near that.
Jesus Christ. That's disappointing. I was really hoping that was going to be a good movie.
Yeah.
Didn't they get that hyped up for a year? It seemed like pictures
after the copyright ran out, it didn't really look... Because, it's not... I guess it's not even a funny joke for a skit. It's just Winnie the Pooh, the child-friendly character, now wants to kill. That's kind of been... a child-friendly character you knew from a childhood who wants to kill is now a killer. Yeah, that's been done before.
100%.
It's not even even if it was a Saturday Night Live skit, it wouldn't be even that funny of a skit. So it's not that interesting of a movie.
No.
They could have been more creative with the concept. Then I probably want to go see it. But no, it's just this child-friendly character is now just wants to kill and he's out for blood. That's the concept.
Cool. So you made Jason. Out of Winnie the Pooh. Congratulations. Yeah, but that's one of the schlocky options you have when you get a chance. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right. Moving on. So,
Please.
getting to some stuff that we're finally leaning into the stuff that's not as interesting here. In the MCU, we're going to talk about Ant-Man in a bit, but the Marvels sort of had a big sort of piece of information drop just before Ant-Man dropped, which was Kevin Feige and the Marvel Studios announced that the Marvels is now moving away from its original date of launching. I believe that was toward the end of summer, now to November of 2020.
Oh no, Kevin Feige didn't announce that. It was a fucking poster.
That was a poster
that he just like uploaded.
Okay, so
they just gave an updated poster, and it's like
something to do with the film itself, or is it something they want to get out before it?
Well, what's always been in the list is it was Ant-Man that just dropped this past weekend, Guardians in May, and the Marvels, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was like September, August. It was like right in the middle of the year, right at the tail end, because Guardians was going to be the beginning of the summer rush, and I believe the Marvels was going to be toward the end of the summer rush. Now it's more set like where Black Panther was set this time, that point last year. I mean, I know a lot of people are sad about this. I'm not. I'm very excited not to see this movie. So, what do you guys think about the fact that the Marvels is now moved to November?
Okay. I don't know if they have like anything else this year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They don't have. They're not planning on putting anything right there. They don't have anything planned for that spot.
Yeah, I kind of imagine like it was gonna be like a November movie. They usually have a November movie anyway, or a fall movie. I was surprised like when I originally heard Marvels is going to be like early fall.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a movie. I'm not that excited for it.
And we'll talk about other things I'm excited for the MCU later.
You should have did this topic afterwards, but you went
because they don't want to. I'm starting to tease our excitement for the Marvel.
But like,
I'm not excited. I'm not disappointed. I'm still going to see the movie no matter what.
Absolutely.
The most interesting thing I want about the movie that I want to see is like what the hell happened to Nick Fury between this and the Secret Wars, because like the Secret Invasion TV show, because if you saw that trailer, Nick Fury is like old, like his beard is grizzled, and he's like been through some shit, and you remember, and like I remember seeing him at the end credits of like Spider-Man Far From Home, and he was taking a virtual vacation. He was fine. He was chillaxing,
shaved, ready to go back to it whenever he was
good. He was happy. So like some shit had to go down in that movie.
Is that coming out before or after Guardians of the Galaxy?
No, Guardians is still May 5th.
No, Secret Wars.
That's a good question. Secret Invasion or Secret?
Got their release date. They haven't been.
Secret Invasion doesn't even have a release date. It says early 2023, but no specific.
All right, if it comes out after Guardians of the Galaxy, it could be something that just happened in between there, or it could be the fact that the Nick Fury we saw on that spaceship, he could have been a Skrull.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm curious about, because like the thing
that's so strange because they don't play it up as a Skrull. They play it up because the way that we're presented way back when in Far From Home, though, was that the Skrulls were controlling Nick Fury on Earth, and then that the purpose disguised as Nick Fury on Earth in front of Spider-Man, whereas that end credit scene was to tell you, oh, here's what he's doing. There was no like implication of maybe it's not him. It was more just like
it could have been one of the evil Skrulls that just placed him.
There's always a chance.
We're making theories, but that's what's interesting about the Marvels, because I don't care about any of the Marvels. I'm watching this movie. My interest for this movie is all Nick Fury. Same thing with the first Captain Marvel. It's like I don't care about Captain Marvel. I don't care about Brie Larson's character at all.
Right.
But like, Samuel L. Jackson, like he's doing good with that de-aging effect. Absolutely. And like he's still a fun actor, and I'm seeing this movie for him. And like again, I'm seeing this movie for Samuel L. Jackson again.
How disappointed would you be if he's not in this movie one bit? Because there's no guarantee that he's actually in this movie.
Far From Home told me he was.
He could be in Secret Invasion. He doesn't have to be in the Marvels.
Far From Home told me.
Far From Home was before 2020.
What part of Far From Home told you he was with the Marvels?
The post credits.
Yeah, because he was on the ship.
That's a sword.
Huh?
That's sword.
That's sword.
Sword, like how their shield fell apart, and then sword
don't leave
sword
Earth?
fell off. came up during we first see them in WandaVision.
No, wait. So he's on Earth.
He's
in space.
orbiting Earth.
He's in space.
Okay, they said he's
But
on
Sword.
world.
He's
Wait,
world
but
of the
I-
planet.
So I didn't know that was Sword though.
I thought that was Sword. That's what I was thinking. Like that's Sword.
By the way that they've revealed Sword the entire time has been absolutely atrocious. There's a lot of things we'll get into with the MCU, but again, the fact that there's just so many different things that are happening in the MCU and there's no consistency, or we're not just getting spoon-fed this. It's just like, here's this, like, it just doesn't connect. But you look just as confused as I am.
Wait.
So when they say off, he's technically off world by being on the ship.
Wait,
that's
so when
not
did they
the point.
imply he was in with Sword though?
Like I don't see why would he leave Earth, like fly off? Why would he? There's no reason.
I guess hang on, like because Captain Marvel is like.
I think he was.
That's
just
why I was confused.
Is his
at all.
friend?
He was having them those shields so he can go work on Sword because he knew the invasion was coming or something because he knew about it.
Are you sure for Sword? He's not in Captain Marvel too.
Like I'm not saying he's not in Captain Marvel too. I'm just saying I think that ship he's on was just Sword.
Dude, that's the thing is, number one, I don't even know. Look, like there's a lot of questions, but there's just things that they aren't. Remember, and this is so interesting how this conversation got here.
Sword was introduced in WandaVision.
Yes, but what I'm saying is, this is the problem with, again, another thing with the MCU is Nick Fury was the core of this entire franchise, and when we don't even know what the fuck, not only we don't know what he's doing, but what does the ship have to do with it? Why is he on a ship? Is it the Skrulls? Is it S.H.I.E.L.D.? I mean, not S.H.I.E.L.D. Is it Sword? Is it the Skrulls? We don't know, since Far From Home, we've gotten no idea except for the fact that he looks grizzled in a trailer for Secret Invasion, and I think that's a big flaw for the MCU is because here's a critical character that we haven't seen for years now that was, again, one of the connective tissues to the entire storyline of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He would actually be very assisting when you're talking about all of these different characters that keep getting introduced.
Yeah.
That we're just kind of like, well, this one's here, and 78 other characters that got introduced are here, and 14 other characters are here, and now we know about these 14, and there's no real person tying it all together, So, yeah, man. I'm at a loss. I've been at a loss, and I've said this. I'm at a loss for the MCU.
I have to theorize. I think I feel like he has to be a big part of the Marvels because he was a big part of the first Captain Marvel.
I hope
and he's
so.
very attached. So he's very attached to that character.
I need a reason to see it, Mark.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Brie Larson is not a reason to see that movie.
Or whoever was playing Miss Marvel, because like the
and
show.
she's not giving me a reason to.
The
I know
show
you guys
was.
are excited, but.
I guess okay. I guess like 1 point above mediocre. I guess, but it was the weakest Marvel show for me. But like it's not that interesting.
Martin reacted severely.
Definitely WandaVision.
Whoa. I thought you were gonna say Falcon and the Winter Soldier because that
one too.
That was terrible.
The intrigue of WandaVision was there.
Oh my God.
But the setup to get
I like WandaVision until I think WandaVision had like a ending, but like I like the rest of the series.
that was one of the.
What? That was a great journey though.
It was such a slow.
And I have to disagree fully. I disagree fully. Same thing with Winter Soldier.
There were a couple of
wait, one by one.
There were a couple of payouts. There were a couple of things and didn't happen. Like a couple of payouts. Like the biggest one of all, Ralph Boner. Like that is one of the big.
You're talking about the guy from the X-Men universe,
that was
appearing and then that being nothing. Yes, thank you, MCU writers. A+. Yes, that's one.
Then there's the whole thing about when the plot point with Vision that he appeared. Got a new one, and then he flies off.
But he doesn't solve anything about how Wanda feels. If he hypothetically did, that would solve all of Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness. It probably wouldn't even have gotten that far.
I was a little about to lead to that. Like, WandaVision really didn't do anything because it looked like she was trying to make amends, and then we flip over to Doctor Strange, and she's the bad guy.
Yeah, what she did was bad. She's still the villain, and I like. Yeah, I'm glad they kept. I'm glad they kept. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm glad they kept that angle for Doctor Strange because she we can't just view her as a hero after what she did with the town. And well,
there was also the end credits scene where she's reading the book. That's the evil book. It's not a good book.
Yeah.
This isn't a good book. This is a bad book.
And the way it was trade when she was flying off, it's like she was so, like she was sad for what she did.
She flew up, but then the scene after that,
Yeah,
the
the
literal
scene sort of
end
reading a book.
is she's reading a book, meaning that the last thing we know is that she's reading an evil book, meaning that the last thing we know is she is going in an evil direction. Whether or not it's good or bad, we got the teasers for Doctor Strange that it's like, oh, she's in a field or whatever. Maybe that's good. Obviously, not good. So
I didn't think of it as like an either or ending, but like she was looking through a dark hole to like a way to get her children back.
Yes,
because like the ending is
what
like
children.
The children.
You mean the fake one she made?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like she's trying to get the children back, so she's going through the dark hole. So it could be like an either or ending. I saw it as like Wanda doing whatever to do to get her children, but like I didn't think she would be like the main villain in Multiverse of Madness, because that was a pleasant surprise, and they were keeping it as a surprise for Multiverse of Madness.
Yes.
Because when we knew she was coming back in Multiverse of Madness, but like I assumed she was in that movie, or everybody assumed she's in that movie to like help out. To like Doctor Strange is like dealing with a multiverse threat, and is like, I'm gonna get another person I know who does magic in the MCU. I'm gonna get WandaVision. I'm gonna get Wanda. If I call her. Yeah. I'm gonna get Wanda
Maximoff. Yeah.
And like, Wanda, I summon you to help me with this problem. And it's like, all right, Wanda helps the problem in the movie in the end.
Yeah. So before, I know Martin, you have some more to say.
No,
I have to defend WandaVision. That was the gimmicks were what made it fun.
Yes.
That sitcom style of going from 50s TV to 70s TV to 90s TV, and then it's slowly delving into things breaking the world. That was absolutely interesting to me. I wish I could go in blind again, because it was such a fun journey to slowly, like, things were cracking.
Yeah,
and
the
people
uncovering
were
mystery every episode.
And people were, and it was all revealing itself. I thought that was some great stuff, and I love the fact that she was doming everything, and then that grew, and people got more people from S.W.O.R.D. got impacted. In fact, I think the issues are just, again, they kept introducing things out of the blue. Who the fuck is S.W.O.R.D.? We don't fucking know. But suddenly they have a new head. Suddenly they have $1 billion headquarters that we haven't seen in the MCU at all before. They are apparently an army-like presence, and that shows up. The Vision thing, you're right, but I think that doesn't downgrade the show so significantly that it's the worst show.
Yeah.
I think even Moon Knight is worse than WandaVision, because there's a bunch of shit with Moon Knight that they just kind of fail at. You know, like I don't put them a great ball.
They show a lot of potential, and they show a lot of potential in Moon Knight. And like they don't deliver.
Yeah,
that's the same thing I think with WandaVision. Like there's a lot, like they one payoff at the end with Wanda. Okay, I'll relent on that. But there were a lot of other things throughout that series that they introduced at the beginning of it, and there was nothing at the end.
For me,
I will say the Agatha thing, for instance. Introduce her, she wasn't a part of shit at all. No. They kept they had the whole song. Agatha did it. It's like she didn't do shit.
Yeah, and like. Oh, the thing about WandaVision for me is like I think the build up and the mystery every episode was great. It there was like I said, it was great build up, but a messy ending. I think episode 8 of WandaVision is the worst. So I mean
that's the final episode, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that battle.
I think honestly I think every episode before 8 it's a good show on its own.
Yeah.
But episode 8 is just it's a messy ending, and honestly I feel the same way for Winter Soldier. I think that also has a messy ending, but I did enjoy the journey because I like the interaction between Bucky and
Cap
and
Steve Rogers.
He's not there.
Are you talking about Falcon, or are you talking about
Falcon?
You said Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Bucky. I said Bucky.
You said the game, the title of the show.
Yeah.
You talking
the
about
show or the movie?
Oh, Falcon. Oh my God. I'm sorry.
That's why.
Oh, my bad. I said I like Falcon. And
I'm sorry. I apologize. I jumped up at you like Winter Soldier. I'm like, what are you talking about? I apologize.
Falcon. I like Falcon and Winter because I like the interaction between Falcon and Winter Soldier. I like how the Dora Milaje came in. Their presence in the show was awesome.
Absolutely.
The only thing that was I didn't like, the villain. The villain was stupid, and it led to a messy ending, especially with a returning character from Civil War.
Yeah.
That whole concept was messy, but the journey with those characters, it was fun.
It was fine to me. But we're going to wrap up this. If we're going to do a full review of a couple other shows, we'll go through those later on. But let's get moving into the big focus of this episode, and that is, of course, Ant-Man. But before we do that...
we were talking about...
you still have another point?
I know. How we got to reviewing all the shows, we were talking about, like, why I think Miss Marvel is the weakest of the Disney...
Yes.
Of the Disney Plus shows. For me, and it's like... It's the main reason why I don't really care for the Marvels, except for if Nick Fury being, or if he's in it. Well, I'm pretty sure he is. But like, in terms of this being a November movie, it's like whatever. But like, I heard like they're trying to cut Marvel, like, because like a lot of people interviewed Kevin Feige recently,
yes,
and they're just trying to cut back on like Marvel content in general because they started to realize like, oh yeah, I guess we are throwing too much at them at once. And it's like, you think?
Yeah. Because
they're having like shows overlapping movies, like the second to last episode of Hawkeye happened the week of No Way Home,
yes,
Spider-Man. And it's like, yeah, you're having shows, Marvel shows. They're clashing, and it's like the world is like happening in two places, and like you don't do that.
But they also had nothing. But they had nothing to do with each other.
At the same time, like it's saying like, okay, the world is still spinning. It's not just this one superhero having.
But Hawkeye was centered in New York. And at the same time,
yeah, I'm not. I know it's not confusing, but like, I mean, it's
just inconsistent.
It's trying to make it seem like the super.
No, I mean, it's a bit overwhelming for casual viewers because they are keeping continuity, like vicious continuity in these movies now. Well, not vicious, but like they're keeping like continuity in these movies, and for casual viewers to get what's going on, you gotta experience like most of the stuff. Like Doctor Strange is a product that comes after WandaVision. Yes. And for those who haven't watched WandaVision, like you're kind of loose on details there.
Right.
Because like it was fine for Endgame because it's all the movies and you got like one movie coming after the next movie and it's easy for casual viewers to catch up on just the movies.
Right. But like especially at a time when there weren't so many movies releasing in a phase. Yeah. That was the bigger issue.
It's not confusing and it's not inconsistent with the world. I mean, I think they're still good at keeping story in the MCU for the most part,
and we'll get to more. We'll get to that.
Of that, but and for the most part, but like for casual, for me, I can follow easily, but for casual audiences, it's overwhelming, and it's like it's bringing the MCU down. And the evidence, the evidence is clear in the movies because people are caring less about this world, period.
Yes, and do you have anything else?
Oh no,
all right.
That's fine.
All right, Mark, you make a very good point. But we're going to jump over to Ant-Man.
Oh yes, well this leads right into Ant-Man.
Absolutely. And before we do, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening, whatever you're doing, make sure, please, if you're on Spotify, to follow, give us a thumbs up, like the content. If you're on YouTube, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, make sure to subscribe or like as well.
Hey, write us a review and we'll read it on the show.
And I can't guarantee that, but
I'll read it.
Mark,
unless we get too many.
If we get less than 10 reviews per episode.
Well, if we get a lot of reviews, I'll just pick a good one and read it.
Yes.
At the end of the episode.
Absolutely. Make sure you have misspellings so Mark's confused. But again, guys, we appreciate you for listening so far.
Hey, yo, gang! I think this podcast here is great. They spell great wrong.
That's cheese grate. That's not great like great. Anyway, now on to Ant-Man, Quantumania.
You're an interesting man, Scott Lang. You're an Avenger. You have a daughter. But you've lost a lot of time, like me. We can help each other with that.
It is the 31st movie in the MCU. In fact, you now have a month's worth of movies to go through. Kicked off Phase 5, and we're here to talk about it. A lot of reviews are middling, but what do we think? I'm going to kick it off over to Martin. What do you think, man?
Meh.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's basically what it came down to the movie. Like I said, the trailers made the movie seem more exciting than what actually was happening on the screen. Like there were a lot of parts that are just like, we can wrap this up, move it along, or unnecessary quippy comedy.
That too. I feel
It's
you.
like, just the parts are just like, you don't need to have this here. There was what's his name? I don't know the guy from the original 2 movies who did the fast talking at the end.
The fast talking.
He would I forgot his name.
Was he one of the one that was brought down in? You're talking about Hank Pym?
No, not Hank Pym. He was a side character.
The Hispanic dude from the last movie who like recapped everything in the first movie.
Yeah,
he was like the most comedic character in the both Ant-Man 1 and 2.
absolutely.
Since he wasn't there, like everyone for some reason they had everyone fill the void of him.
His name.
Michael Pena.
There we go.
They had everyone fill the void of that. Like,
yeah.
Not the side characters, some of the side characters, but the main cast just
all
unnecessary.
quips.
And I'm just like, what? This is unnecessary. This is unnecessary. This is unnecessary. And it kept going. It wasn't too much of a bother because after a while you just tune it out.
Right.
There were a lot of side characters who were hit and miss for me.
Yeah.
Like, they showed that they were cool designs. I saw something like, oh, that's pretty cool design. And then it came to bonk because they just fell to the side as annoying little characters.
That's right.
Like,
that's how I felt there.
Awesome. Let me see.
It's so strange. Mark, give us your overall thoughts on it before we get deeper in.
Shout out to Marvel because I'm surprised they actually referenced my quote for my review of all of Phase 4. And the quote was, "Thank you, Spider-Man."
As the promotional art said too, over and over and over and over again. My God.
But I agree with Martin. This movie was very meh. It's the weakest Ant-Man movie, and it's definitely just a weak action movie in general.
I wouldn't say it was the weakest because 2 had an enemy who was pretty darn weak. But this movie's Kang.
I mean,
not weak in terms of villain.
Not weak in terms of villain.
Weak in terms of just the movie overall.
Yeah. I mean, because if you want to go in terms of
no,
scale,
I'm just saying because in the second movie.
I mean, do you not like the second movie that much? No.
I'm just saying. I would say this is the better movie because at least this movie had a playable villain. A villain.
I think this.
That is the only true thing I can say is that at least compared to the Wasp. You look at Jonathan Majors, and what he brings to the table as Kang is just unimaginably impressive. That is the only thing in this movie that I think is incredibly valuable. Everything else is like Martin started off with, meh, or absolutely pointless.
Yeah, I think this movie is in like we're the bigger and more, I guess, epic tone. I mean, the
tone is meant to be epic.
Epic, yeah. That's not my opinion for it. That is, I don't think it is epic, but it is a more epic tone, a larger scale. Not comparing it, but kind of, it's like the Eternals movie where it's a large scale epic superhero movie, but it doesn't hit the same as the other Ant-Man movies. I think it's this movie is very mistoned and comparing to the other 2 Ant-Man movies, this kind of movie shouldn't be an Ant-Man movie.
No, that Ant-Man was always very small scale.
Yes.
Not in the pun of the fact that it's Ant-Man, but in the fact that what the events entail were not critically important to the entire MCU as a whole. Now, I will say quantum mechanics do play a role in Endgame, but we didn't know that until Endgame.
Well, both movies they both play an important part where the first movie introduces you to the Ant-Man character in general.
Yes.
And he plays an important role in Civil War. And the second movie introduced the quantum realm. The quantum realm, which is an important subject. I mean, you can say that for a lot of Marvel movies. They're in Phase 3, they introduce an important subject. But
that gets especially expanded later on in event movies.
Not all of them need to be important. the thing about this movie is like what I like about the other two movies is like they're just like fun little comedies, and like and that's why I'm expecting at this point. This is what I'm expecting from Ant-Man. This movie, it's not like a small scale comedy. This feels like what's meant to be like either a Thor movie or an Avenger,
or maybe even a Captain America
movie, like or
something very significant.
Yeah, this is like this feels like a I want to be Star Wars movie. This doesn't
to the Center of the Earth.
This does not feel like the same tone as the other Ant-Man movies, and like that's what I was expecting out of this. And like the thing about this movie is whatever new tone it was going for, I'm okay with like fine, they're changing the tone in the franchise, but they're not doing it well, and it's making me miss the other tone of the other franchises. Like you can have all these epic concepts, but you can still have these like this fun humor the other movies have, just like not take it seriously, and just like because Marvel has made a joke of itself before, and they're going to do it later on when we get that Deadpool movie that apparently takes place in the MCU. Right. We just had She-Hulk last year. Yeah. That made a joke of itself in the MCU, so you can do that.
Absolutely.
I think this movie is just it's not very fun for the whole way, and like a lot of the jokes don't land, and like
there's a lot of pointless garbage in there,
it just doesn't go, just
unnecessary quips.
Yeah, the jokes that don't land just doesn't go mess with the tone of the movie, so they're not memorable.
I just want to jump off. You mentioned before the original the method and the concept and the format of Ant-Man is much more comedic. The tone, you mentioned the tone shifted significantly in what you were expecting. I will say, I was all in for what the trailers pitched us, especially the second trailer. They were very much away from that comedic tone. At least you get that from the Thank You, Spider-Man, but you see Kang and you know that if someone of such large potential is there, you already know that it's going to have some sort of significant tone shift. But the issue here is, there were not. We'll bring this up later, but there were things in the trailer. By the way, the marketing presented things absolutely inaccurately that would have actually been significantly better if implemented in the movie that weren't there. And I'll just say it, spoilers, everyone. They bring up in the trailer that Kang is going to talk to Scott Lang about having more time with his daughter. I thought that was an absolutely excellent approach. They don't even do that in the movie. They don't really even sit. I thought this was going to be sat on. I thought that Scott was going to think about this longer. It just gets. I thought that was the critical piece of this movie. I thought
Scott was going to take a deal and they regret it.
Right. I thought that was going to be the movie we were going to follow. And there are movies where you get trailers that take you on a different route, but that route was better than what the fuck we got. That's what's weird about the marketing here, is some of the marketing was actually leading us to an idea that was absolutely an opposite tone to what we ended up getting, which was Ant-Man goes into the Star Wars world. And then it's Kang.
I was ready for that movie. I was ready for that tone, but they didn't honestly deliver on a good movie, a good version of that movie.
Right. Honestly, I say there were two different tones in the movie, and it depended on what character was on the screen at the time. Because when Kang was on the screen at any point of the time, the tone was a more serious tone. You could feel that anything he said he was going to do, and how he was placing it. Yeah. It was just so serious, and the people, and they stopped quipping, they stopped cutting comedy. Everything just shut up and just let him do his thing.
Yes.
And then you get to the part where he's not there, and it's just
back to generic Marvel.
Yeah, and I'm just I can go ahead and say it.
Go for it. Yeah, spoilers.
The part where he told him to jump into the his little time part of the thing to help so he can bring it back down so he can get a thing. As soon as he jumped off the platform, it went back into that thing, but it just started showing up into the thing saying, "Hey, ignore this plot." Let's talk about MODOK later.
Absolutely.
When he jumped in there and he went into it and he
jumped to grab the power source.
He jumped in there and he started multiplying, and it was what's his name? What the hell? 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 nothing beyond that. It went no further beyond that. It was just like they splitting those because like, oh no, let's all have them have a mad dash towards the thing. They all dying back and forth, it was so comedic the whole time that I felt no tension.
No,
it felt like.
It was like in The Last Jedi when Rey goes into the goes into the pool underwater, wherever the fuck she's in on the island, and it's a tech demo. That's what it is. It's a tech demo. You have, look what we can do with Scott Lang. We can multiply him several times over. He can do the Naruto thing. He can do the clone jutsu. Like, it's great, but you did nothing with it. You really did.
All right, since
let's go into let's keep.
Since
going.
we're on that scene, okay, so like I said, like I'm okay with Marvel breaking their own universe to make a joke.
Yes.
Like kind of only when it lands, and like for this movie, it didn't. Like, they only did it once, and it didn't fit. And that was that scene where, out of nowhere, they had the Baskin-Robbins employee, Scott Lang. And it's like, that doesn't make any sense because that's like, all right, so it's different possibilities of this current situation, not different realities of the situation.
Right.
And so that comes, and he's the only one there, and it's just for a joke, and it's not like a background thing. They end this, because, like, they make him bright. They make him bright and they emphasize him. The movie stops to have you laugh, like, Baskin-Robbins, Scott Lang is here. And that joke doesn't land. He's still there.
Yes.
And it just there's no follow-up to that. There's no questioning of it. It's just comes out of nowhere. And it's so weird. There's no other joke like that in the movie. There are a lot of, like, dialogue jokes between characters, but like
he has no
nothing that like non sequitur like a reality breaking jokes like that one.
Right.
It's I don't get that. That was so weird. And I guess we're skipping ahead a little bit, but I was talking to my roommate about this movie because we saw the movie, and it was like, you know what? If they want to make this joke good, what they should have done is that post credit scene when you see all the Kangs. There should have been a Baskin-Robbins Kang there, and that would have made the joke. That would have had the joke come full circle.
Consistently, right?
Yeah, just have like in the audience you see Baskin-Robbins Kang.
Yeah,
like that would have made it come full circle. At least Baskin-Robbins, anybody else. Because even in the beginning of the movie, he says he's not an employee of Baskin-Robbins anymore, but he's just on the employee of the month.
If you bring it up in the beginning, the middle, and now the end, that would be great.
It doesn't make any sense. That it's a different reality, not a different possibility.
Right.
So that was it's like I know I'm on this one joke, but it was just. It was really bad.
No, I know he brought up something I didn't.
For a movie that
For a movie
that has consistently with itself. And like if this was a Deadpool movie, I'd be like, okay. If this was She-Hulk, I'd be like, okay, they're just being stupid anyway. But like this is a
major event movie.
Yeah, this is a serious
film, theatrical,
very serious tone.
They took the comedic character and made it everybody. So throughout the movie, it's just these unnecessary, quippy comedy moments that you just think like, why is this? What's the point of this?
Like for instance, you have Hank Pym, who was really the straight man throughout the Antman now trilogy. He was more the straight man in the first two movies. He would have some He had some quippy one-liners, but not the way that they have him. His dialogue this time around, he's completely changed up.
This movie is really unbalanced because. The thing about the first two movies is like they're comedic is because the main plot and the main focus is Scott Lang and his journey, is his story. This movie, Scott Lang sort of like has a he has plot B, while the other characters, Michael Douglas and who plays the Wasp?
You said who? Hope Van Dyne.
Hope Van Dyne. Is that her character name?
That's her character name. I don't have the actress's name.
Well, yeah. Hank Pym and Hope Van Dyne.
Don't forget Jeanette Van Dyne, the worst character in all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I want to talk about her in a second.
Yeah, but like, because even in the second movie, you can say there was a serious tone with him in a quantum realm, but that was a plot B.
Right.
Scott Lang, even his journey, it's very plot B. Even though he's the one that meets Kang, the main focus is whatever. Hope's mom was doing while she was in the quantum realm.
Somehow this is the key question. And they kept
feeding you that story like piece by piece.
Yes.
And like
much less interesting. By the way.
Well, it made me upset because she wasn't telling her family in a terrible situation. Like, she wasn't telling them the whole story, and like, fine, she had trauma. She was quiet for like most of the time, being back in the regular dimension.
Absolutely.
But she wasn't telling. But like, when they get to the quantum realm, they're in a dire situation. She's not telling them everything, and like not all at once. And it made me no mad at that character.
So, I want to quick trivia. How long do you think Quantumania is set after Antman and the Wasp when she comes back? How many years?
Well, it's
5.
After
no.
Wait.
No, the blip. So
it's after the blip too.
Yeah.
So let's say you add the blip. How many years? So you have the blip.
She just got back, and then they blipped.
And
5 years.
So let's say, how many years after the blip do you think this was? How many more years would you give it?
2, 3.
Okay.
She's been there for 4 added years and didn't say anything about Kang, about the world below, or anything. You know, and by the way, at the same time, her daughter, who is the Wasp, asking her the whole time probably, because we get a lot of that. All they have her doing is, hey mom, what's up? Hey, what's happening? What happened down there? And the whole time she's just like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to say. And like, look, I understand that maybe some people do that, but you cannot just hold that off for 4 years and then get into this situation and then not tell them. Once they're on the ground in the fucking quantum realm, all right, here's what happened. Look, all right, she covers them, right? She hides them from the ship. That's like, all right, fuck, I gotta tell you. There is a villain here, fucking incredibly powerful villain. We have to get the fuck out of here. We have to find them. We have to get out of here, because if he comes back and gets to the Earth, actual planetary level, we're doomed. We're absolutely doomed. That's it. That's like 30 seconds.
Actually,
That's 30 seconds.
Like, I can, like...
I'm sorry.
I can't relate, but I can understand that, like, okay, she has a lot of trauma from the quantum realm. She doesn't want to say anything. Kang is stuck down there, so that's not a problem I guess she doesn't have to worry about. She's just going to leave that behind and just forget about it. But when they're in the quantum realm and they're in, like, they don't know what's going on, and she knows, like, they see that she knows her way around. She knows everything. She knows all these weird people. And she's not giving them answers. Like, that... I don't get that. And she's like, okay, I'm going to tell you this part. I'm going to tell you this part. Then I'm going to tell you this part. And like, she's not giving them everything at once, or just telling them, like, everything once they get down there.
By the way, you also know why it's disrespectful she didn't tell them anything? What was the last thing she had Scott do before they get blipped? Go to the quantum realm. And she didn't say, hey, we're going to throw you down there, but we're not going to tell you. And I know that this was before, you know, the events where Kang is valuable, so obviously whoever wrote this movie didn't think about the fact that in the sequel movie, before the prequel before this movie, that this would be absolutely antithetical to her not saying it to the guy that they're going to take to the quantum realm. Like, I don't know. It's just... Antithetical doesn't make sense.
I argue against that she actually had anything super traumatic happen to her, because from what we saw in the movie, she was chilling with him for a long period of time.
Yeah, she could have even fucked him. I don't know.
It was alluded to.
It was alluded to, yeah.
And also, like, the dude, what's his name? The guy who plays the friend.
You mean Bill Murray, the worst fucking cameo in all of the MCU?
No,
yeah.
He said,
absolutely.
He said, oh, you left us here, because that means she left before the fight was even over.
Yeah.
I mean, she bailed on everybody. So I'm thinking, like, she couldn't be too traumatic if she was ready to just bail on.
Bounced.
Yeah,
by the way.
like,
she left.
If you think, like, it would have been something along the lines that she was forced to come back, like they pushed her into it.
Yes.
No, she bailed on all of them.
Right.
So I was like, it can't be too dramatic that you didn't want to share anything.
Yeah, I know that's what doesn't add up. That's the only assumption I can make.
I just have I have no ability to feel empathetic for her character, because she just didn't even attempt to protect her. Her family is literally based around quantum mechanics. So the minute that you don't tell them when you get back, every minute since that point, it's like, all right, your family has technology based around quantum technology. That's the whole point of the company that Hope Van Dyne runs now. Pim Van Dyne, she runs that company. So at this point, it's like, all right, my daughter's curious. What the fuck is going on in the quantum realm? Her company deals with quantum technology. Guess what you should probably tell your daughter? It's not rocket science.
And
go ahead.
And that's the main problem with this movie is the three characters, Hope, Hank, and I keep forgetting the ladies.
Hope, Hank, and Jeanette Van Dyne.
Hope, Hank, and Jeanette. They have the plot A role, and like because of Jeanette, I'm not vibing with their interactions.
No.
And like I still find like Scott Lang an endearing character, but like the movie is barely about him, and like every time they get away from him, like I'm just like, okay, we're I'm not bored, but like I'm just like at the screen like doing the Y gesture, like what?
Yeah.
Like doing the what gesture, and I think this should have been like Scott's movie, and or like if since plot A, because like okay, you got the serious characters and you got the comedic characters. I think like if you're gonna have like you should have the serious characters meet up with Kang first probably, and like probably have the comedic characters meet up with Bill Murray. And can we get to the Bill Murray cameo? We're gonna get to that later.
Let's just talk about it now.
I think they used the wrong Bill Murray character. They should have just like ported over the character from Ghostbusters, because my favorite Bill Murray is like the dry humor straight man Bill Murray.
I think number one, he probably asked to get a boatload of money for this cameo. I could imagine that $1 million was added to the budget of this movie to pay Bill Murray. But also, I don't think it's either number one, he's doing the Harrison Ford back in the 2000s where he didn't give a fuck about the roles that he's in, where he's just coming off as absolutely disinterested. Because that's all I got from this movie. His role was absolutely uninteresting. Like the way he spoke it was disinteresting. Like, there was no concern. And maybe that's what they wanted him to do.
Well, here's the thing. They gave him the same... He's the same character as Jeff Goldblum was in Thor Ragnarok.
Wow.
Yeah. So, like, if... I was excited when I saw Bill Murray's face in the trailer. I was excited, like, ooh, I want to see the interaction between him and Scott Lang. And, like...
We never get that.
Well, it doesn't matter because they used the wrong Bill Murray. I want... The character, the Bill Murray like characteristics I like in most movies is like when he's a dry straight man. So I was hoping like the better version of this movie is like he has a scene with Scott Lang and he's a Ghostbusters Bill Murray.
Yeah, like that tone. You mean the tone, by the way.
Yeah, the tone, and like Scott Lang does a goofy Scott Lang thing, and Bill Murray's like, "Oh my god, really?"
Right,
something like that.
No. I have no on Bill Murray at all. Like, I have no thoughts on him with that at all.
Yeah, I just thought that was like the Bill Murray.
I do because I was excited for that cameo, but like it was a disappointing one.
It was an absolutely disappointing cameo. Like this was as disappointing to me. Martin, you brought up the character that plays Quicksilver in X-Men. This was more disappointing than learning that the Quicksilver character in X-Men had no point in being in WandaVision at all. Like, I don't know what level of disappointment I had in either role. I would say equally disappointed in both of those because both of them led to nowhere. Both of them led to, oh, here's an actor that I've seen in something else before, and it's basically pointless. Like, all we get to hear is he fucked Hope Van Dyne's mom once or a couple times or a few times, and they were a thing. And there's a fighting force in the quantum realm. Like, get the fuck out of here. I'm going to be absolutely honest with you. The fighting force shit in the quantum realm, I could give a fuck less about that entire plot line. Like, the fact that it takes up such a chunk, it is so stupid. Like, I know they wanted us to care about something in the quantum realm, but if this was just sort of more empty and you just had to escape from Kang, I would give that way more interest in that than it being a bunch of random fucking aliens that were saying some one-liners. It's like, what the fuck was this? What the fuck was that?
All of them just quippy and one-line and just...
It was Thor again. It was the new Thor movies again, wherever Scott... Oh, sorry.
As soon as that jelly thing said... As soon as he started talking, I heard the voice, I was like, it's this character. And I was like, from there, I just felt like none of the side players I cared about. As soon as I heard his voice, I was like, okay, they're going in this direction. I don't care about any of these.
But by the way, were you actually curious when they were speaking in Alien and we didn't know what they were saying at first? A little bit. Like a little bit intrigued. Just intriguing. A bit more intrigued. Not like, ooh, I'm way more hyped, but like just, huh. They don't speak English. We're just gonna have to figure it out as we go along. And then they drink the fucking goop, and that's a joke, by the way. By the way, the whole goop drink the goop thing. I thought that was going to be way more serious than it's like, why the fuck would I want to drink goop? And then quickly, what? Okay.
That was a weird cut.
I don't understand
Drink the ooze.
How did she even get a hit
cut
of
the
him?
other characters.
Yeah, and then cuts back, and he's drinking it as they cut back.
But I'm saying there's some time error right there, because how did she get a hit of him when they both got captured at the same time? When she went through the process already.
Oh, there's a lot of
drinking the ooze.
I'll get to the errors of this movie after I got some other points.
By the way, did you notice in the very beginning of the movie that so there is in the very beginning we open on the cave, right, where the crash landing, right? It's not the beginning of the movie is the crash landing where she's in the quantum realm.
Yeah.
And then we cut to San Francisco, right? Do you notice that's just an editing mistake where the MCU intro clearly should have been between that and the San Francisco? Clearly, that would have been the typical MCU editing style. Because they cut from that quickly to Welcome Back instead of having any in between.
Oh no,
Usually that's where the MCU intro sits. Is you have something serious, very similar to what was that in Endgame? You had the family of Hawkeye get blipped, and then
I was okay with that transition because it was like a
tone shift.
It was a jokey one because it was a tone shift, but I wasn't sure where the tone. It's the beginning of the movie, so I didn't really care about tone at that point. I was waiting for it, but I thought that was a clever it was a joke on itself, the editing, because it was you thought it was a text over the setting.
Yeah.
But it turns out it was just a car.
That was great.
It was truck,
I love that.
and it goes over and that was just a truck.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a nice little editing joke.
That was awesome. Yeah. By the way, another thing, new MCU intro. Same theme, but we get a revised intro with the characters. So now we get we now get more modern characters. You still get the shield toss or whatever it was in the very beginning, but now we have the new Black Panther. We now have what's her name from Black Panther, the new Black Panther. We now have new Hawkeye, I think. We have quite a few characters that have now dropped in that are now in the MCU template.
That's cool, but I wish they were actually doing something instead of just they were just posing through.
Yeah, they were posing. Yeah.
I mean,
I wish they were actually you say throwing the shield or doing some kind of action-y.
Because they were more just all kind of doing stand poses.
They probably should change it up at this point because I remember even during Phase 3, even for the least exciting Marvel movies in that phase, I was still excited to see that intro pop up because it was I'm at a Marvel event. It's big, and I'm just excited to see that logo in the theater all the time.
Yeah.
And now we get to this is the aftermath of Phase 4. And the TV shows and stuff, and seeing that logo, I'm okay, this is the Marvel. It lost so much impact with me. That logo used to mean so a lot to me, and it used to always it used to always get me so pumped. Mainly the regular version of that logo,
right?
Used to always get me so pumped. All right, Marvel movie time.
That's right.
And now it's just there's no impact anymore.
It's very strange. I thought they were going to refine it or do something new.
I thought there was going to. I thought it was going to play.
Now.
I was surprised they didn't play around with it for this movie because I thought it was this was a quantum movie, so it's going to shrink or glitch out or some shit. No, it's just they just pasted over the regular fanfare. I didn't even notice it was new poses and stuff.
Yeah,
but I don't think that mattered. But they sort of just pasted over the fanfare.
Yeah,
but so it wasn't. It didn't really leave an impact for me. I think they should have played around with it because they played around with it
for a lot of movies.
I'm sure for the most recent one they played around with it for Black Panther. It was a tribute logo. Yeah, kind of like Stan Lee. You got Chadwick Boseman everywhere.
We're probably going to get something for Guardians as well, since that's a closeout movie.
Guardians it's going to be because I think the same thing as the other ones. Music over.
Yeah, music over. But then you're going to get something with the intro. The characters probably more.
I imagine it could be a different shade of color, but I think it's going to be the same logo but different music over. I do enjoy when they do that too.
Absolutely.
You get like I said before, I did what they did with Black Panther because not only was it a tribute, it was just it was just silent. You just lingered on it after the funeral. It's like, huh.
We're gonna talk about Scott Lang and Cassie after a quick break.
You know, I promised your mom that you would only use this stuff when one of us was around.
It's really dangerous tech.
I know, it's dangerous.
What if the cops took it from you, huh? What if you lost it?
I didn't lose the suit.
You have a suit? Wait, you have a suit?
I know how to take care of myself, okay? Trust me, I'm pretty good at it by now.
Ouch.
Scott Lang was obviously a critical part of this movie. I thought he was, underutilized because we had those two different plot directions, but what did you guys think of Scott Lang?
It was definitely underutilized because he didn't have an arc in this movie. It was just him with his daughter, and like the person that had an arc was his daughter, and like
was it really an arc?
It was really fast forwarded. Like,
it was fast. It was. She
did things that he couldn't do.
As uninteresting and unimportant as it was still like an arc.
Right.
And as badly developed, it was still kind of an arc. It was a mini arc, but like it was there. But it was the only thing Scott had. It was the only thing Scott had purpose was in this movie was to help his daughter and care for his daughter and stuff. I think what the main issue with this movie is that for a movie called Antman and the Wasp, there's not much Antman and the Wasp, and they shouldn't have, because I like the dynamic of this entire family. They should not have split them up. I think they could have done this whole movie with all 5 of them together.
They could have, or they could have just had it be Ant-Man, the Wasp, and the daughter, and that would have been just fine as well. But
they shouldn't have them split in general.
God no.
Because all those scenes with the main 3. With
the family 3 is what I'm going to call it.
With Hope's family. I'm gonna say Hope's family.
That's a good way.
All those scenes with Hope's family. They probably would have been better if Scott was in the background just commenting on stuff,
right,
and adding his light humor to their. It would have been to their dynamic, where it just feels like a disconnected movie when you when it's plot B Scott, plot A them, back and forth.
It didn't help that that Scott had to get stuck with the fighting force. By the way, absolutely terrible. Because
they feel really disconnected from each other.
Yeah.
And
by the way, did you think that they were on different levels of the quantum realm in the beginning? Because the way the movie pitched it, it felt like they were just on different levels that they couldn't reach in the quantum realm.
The thing about this movie is the tone is conflicting of what's important and what's not, because you're spending more time with Hope's family and the backstory of Janet's backstory, and but Scott Lang meets Kang, and but he gets all the jokey moments too, and he's still quippy during those sections too. Well, so it's very conflicting. The tone is very messy, the whole movie in general is just very messy, especially in terms of editing. This is the most messy editing of the Marvel movie, because have you noticed the shots, the cuts were really bad, because there was one section where they were Kang and they were all going it was Scott Modoc, what's the daughter's
Scott Modoc, Hope. Not Hope, Cassie.
Scott Modoc, Cassie, and they were all going through a portal.
Yeah.
Kang opens the portal to them. It cuts to the viewpoint of Scott and Cassie, but Kang is just right there walking with the portal, because he's there and now he's over there, or there was a cut where Hope is trying to go after Scott in the battle. No. The crystal. In the core.
You mean the final battle? Is this what you're talking about?
That's not the final. It's the core of that.
They all jumped into the core.
Where Scott is spitting apart into multiple possibilities.
Absolutely.
Where you see the ship.
Yes.
But you don't see you don't see Hope get out of the ship. She's just there. Right. And there's a lot of other weird cuts in this movie. It's like very messily edited.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's not. There's a lot of flaws in this movie. The production was not good. I think it was Jeremy Johns. I watch him. He's a pretty good YouTuber who's been doing movie reviews for over a decade. Almost 2 decades coming up soon. And one thing he brought up was that it's got to be that they're using the volume a little bit too much, because there's just a lot of shots that are just blurry or just kind of blurred out a bit in the background a lot. Doesn't seem to be a lot of shooting on location. In fact, the most beautiful shots were in San Francisco, because I'm sure that was actually shot on location somewhere. And that's another thing that the Ant-Man movies had going for them too, was a lot of their stuff was shot on actual Earth and not in a CG world. So you had pretty good combat scenes in the past of Ant-Man where like they'd slow things down and you'd see cool combat fights. This, I'm going to be honest, there were a lot of bad fights in terms of just the angles. Interesting combat, but just bad angles. I think the Kang fight at the end was the best, obviously. You had really good combat between Scott and Kang, but just not good overall when it comes to the entire movie. I want to just mention, though, for Scott, in the beginning of the movie, you know, her daughter gives him a lot of shit, and it just gets kind of passed under the rug, but, like, you know, she said some really disgusting shit to a guy that saved the world. Like, this is the equivalent of, like, let's say someone saved the world from a nuclear bomb but isn't helping in the present. It's like, well, he still saved the world from a nuclear bomb. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's like, oh, man, like, you know, for instance, like, Cassie's like, you know, he's like, man, like, you kind of don't do anything now. And also, by the way, the movie doesn't treat Cassie being in prison as, like, anything. It's like, she's a teenager. Because it's like, look, like, she's a...
It's like, a big focus on, like, the very beginning.
Like, I know that's Scott was in prison, but so, like, that happens.
I mean,
and it's like...
His parents cared. Her parents cared.
It was sweet pretty quickly, because even like Hope, and it's like even Hope was in the back, like in the front was like taking his side.
She wasn't doing any parenting during the movie. What I'm saying?
No, she was not. But she was defending the daughter. Like most of the time, it was usually Hope defending the daughter when it would be those interactions, and then Scott would have to be on his own, kind of like trying to play as the only parent person that's like trying to get his daughter to take shit seriously. Like, dude, you're in prison. Like that. Why is the movie taking that lightly? Additionally, again, like I'm just gonna keep throwing stuff on. The daughter is played again. We keep getting all of these characters. I don't mind positive feminism, but every single young female character in the MCU can do just about everything. Like, smart as fuck, knows how to do like scientific shit out the asshole, and can just do it. Like, we've got Black Panther, 2 characters now can do it. She can do it now. It's like, I don't have a problem with it, but Hawkeye can do it now. Like, can we at least, like, you talked about this earlier, it's like, even in the combat, like, we don't even see an opening scene where maybe she's the one and she's fighting thugs like Spider-Man was in the first Spider-Man movie that we get in the MCU. Like, we don't see her taking care of crime fighting so that we know that she's learning about how to combat. It's just that she says, I've been fighting for homeless rights, which, by the way, movie, I'm going to say this, she's like, you're not helping with the homeless situation. Number one, your father's girlfriend runs a major conglomerate company. She could solve this. Number two, where the fuck is Stark Industries for the 31st time in a fucking row? Where is Stark Industries? If they're not working on weapons technology, they're at least trying to help the world, because that's what the wife of Tony Stark was at least doing. Like, who is doing this? Because all of the movies and the TV shows keep pitching this thing of the world is shit. There's no there's a lot of homeless people that haven't gotten their shit together or solved because people lived in their homes before and now they don't have homes now. It's like, so wait. If you're going to bring this problem up, if you're going to announce this, that everyday people, like all the normies in the MCU world, are in such a shit situation, tell me that there's something or someone trying to do something, not just Scott Lang's daughter says, I'm fighting for him, fuck you, Scott Lang. Like, that's some dirty shit. Like, I'm just tired of the MCU, like, bringing these things up and then
you were asking where Stark Industry was?
I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing. I know that's a pet peeve that they don't mention Stark Industry.
That is my main. That is one of my main. That's been my running pet peeve. That's been my running pet peeve for about like 8 years.
Thank you, Spider-Man.
That's been my running pet peeve for 8 years.
Yeah,
for 8 movies, 8 or 9 movies now. I'm just saying that. Look, Stark Industries.
I say that line because it's constantly mentioned in Spider-Man. That's it.
Yes, but like Stark Industries and Stark himself, biggest factor in the MCU for probably, I think, 22 of the 31 movies that have been in the MCU. He dies. We get just about nothing except for the Stark tech in No Way Home. After that movie, it's like, look, I know that he's not running it anymore, but you got to tell me Stark Industries is at least helping the world out here. Like,
they
that's
did
something. What did they say?
Penny Parker signed to check in Far From Home for like the homeless people that that Spider-Man's being the spokesperson for. If you remember the beginning of Far From Home.
Far From Home. Oh, when they're just the quick cameos of things happening, or
do you remember? Do you remember in the beginning of Far From Home when Spider-Man is like being a spokesperson in some kind of like auditorium?
Yes.
And he's like Penny Parker signs a check, but that's all we get.
Okay. All right.
Do you remember that? Yeah.
Barely, but
yeah,
yes, I do remember he's holding
like
thing.
But I get Stark Industries is helping with that. But after that, the only reference we get to Stark stuff is Stark Tech and Black Panther 2.
Black Panther 2. That's right, but it's not even really. It's more like the Stark Tech is the content is similar to Stark Tech,
yes,
but not actually Stark Tech because Riri can just build it in her fucking garage.
That's the last time the name Stark was actually plot important.
Right, and again, guys, I'm not trying to say that it's critical, but I'm saying that if you're going to bring up a plot point like, yeah, there's a lot of homeless people, and this has been Falcon and the Winter Soldier, movie after movie, it's like you say this, just little line drops of like, shit's happening, or in TV shows, shit's happening in the world. There's no homes for people. Like, if you're going to keep bringing that up, like, someone's got to be doing something.
Well, they need to have like some kind of, like, they have shows, there's no show that's like focused on it.
And Falcon was the closest thing.
Well, She-Hulk is a slice of life and a comedy, so they could have had an episode focused on that. They could have had She-Hulk. This show was kind of a waste because they had to have like a little aspect show focusing on like the parts of the MCU, that just kind of like untalked about. That the movies have like other bigger plot important things going on. They're not like a shit. I forgot.
They're just not. It's not a thing that they're focused on talking.
Yeah, but they had plenty of space in other places.
I think any TV show is a perfect
opportunity to talk about these subjects.
Right. And again, sorry, I didn't mean for this to go off for so long. I've been aggravated on this for a while, and then you're telling me that the daughter of Scott Lang, who was just excited to be an Avenger, helped save the day, and is now getting shit from his daughter, has to hear shit about her about like, oh, you're not helping shit. There are people out there that are in trouble. It's like, well, fuck, man. Like, I'm sorry, but can I be happy? Thanos was fucking satisfied, and he killed half the fucking universe. He's sitting on a farm, happy. Like, he can't just sit there, enjoy the fact. Like, he wrote a book. He was so committed about like having fun, like in the fact that he was in such a thing. He wrote a book about it. He's like, fuck, man, I'm me. Like, yeah, shit's happening out there, but that's another thing about success is you can just enjoy it. Like, I just don't get it, man. Like, that really bugged the fuck out of me. And I think Scott Lang deserves at least the ability to enjoy the fact that, he's been doing some street level stuff, and now he's at the point where he was an Avenger, and it's like, I'll end it on this, and then we can move if you have something else.
I can tell you the structure, like, where we should finish this off. MODOK, then Kang, and now we'll leave into the post-credit scenes.
Cool.
There we go.
Because I'll just say this. When she was, like, crying with her dad, and she's like, I got us into this. I'm like, yes, the fuck you did. You didn't have to do this. You made a fucking quantum thing, and also your grandmother did the same, caused this too. Both of you guys are like a fucking figure eight causing this shit. You just did, she didn't say shit, and the daughter's just working on quantum tech. You guys are just stupid as fuck. This is a dumb fucking family, like, Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, let's talk about an even dumber part.
It's funny that, like, the Ant-Man concepts is a thing that saved the entirety of Phase 3, and the new Ant-Man concept is this thing that starts the entirety of Phase 4.
Phase 5.
Phase 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, by the way, so for MODOK,
hold on.
Before you start? What do you got?
I got some notes for that.
Throw it out, please.
No, you can, I want you to read it.
These are, so...
This is a picture of a penis! What is it?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's not a picture of a penis. But what I will say is Martin has made significant notes. Martin, I do appreciate your information. He thinks there's so much to say here that he just left it to me to say. And what he said about MODOK is the following. MODOK sucks. Yeah. No, okay. So here's the thing, right? I love the Spider-Man villains being pulled from, like, the past, like, Stark-wise, but now I kind of understand why some people kind of didn't like that it kept being referenced from past movies and that it wasn't something unique, because this was terrible. This was absolutely awful. I don't know why they pulled from Ant-Man 1. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I like MODOK as a concept. It was like, but, like, it was pointless to have in this movie, and, like, so let me start up. So, like, I enjoy MODOK concept. He's a funny character to have in Marvel's Capcom 3. I'm not good with him, but, like, it's cool the way they worked him into the game and made him fight.
Yeah.
I think he's, like, an interesting character, like, when he has to, like, against the Fantastic Four. I think he's an interesting villain for the Fantastic Four. So I was hoping he would be either introduced in a Fantastic Four movie or saved for one. I've seen this Hulu show. It was alright.
Okay.
It was a more comedic MODOK character, but, like, it made him more, like, it made him a joke, but it was like I think the character also works as a joke too, because he also has comics where he's also a joke.
Right.
This movie is like I don't like how they used him, because, like, well, first of all, they made him attached to Ant-Man because he's the villain from the first movie.
Right.
He somehow got mutated through to the quantum realm when nobody else did. So that's weird, and he just dies in this movie.
That's right.
So he's not saved for the future. So it's like, all right, well, they have a chance to make him better, and I want to see him interact with whatever new Fantastic Four they have.
Nope.
And no. So what was the point? I didn't like his role in this movie was not important. If you were to write him out, nothing in this movie would change. It was just his whole existence in this movie is more Marvel fan service, but, like, I appreciate, like, whenever they do fan service, but, like, I don't like it whenever they do it wrong, and they did it wrong, because even Bill Murray's character hinted, even though everyone already knew he was in the movie, it hinted at it, like, it was a machine only designed for killing. And it's like, oh, it's MODOK. MODOK's coming, because I missed the second trailer when they showed him. I did hear he was in the movie. But, like, when they got to him, his jokes, none of his jokes land, and it was the same joke, like, oh, you're weird big old head and then small arms. It was the same joke with every character, and the effect looked weird.
Yes.
The effect looked really weird. It was off-putting. I get it was a comedic effect, but it was off-putting. I rather have it, like, because, like, Marvel, they like to be realistic with some things, so I rather them have it where, like, they just kept that whole, because he had that metal mask on.
Yes.
Over it. They just should have just kept that, honestly. It was pointless. He wasn't that much of a threat. His jokes didn't land. He was just somebody for, I guess, Kang to command, but, like, he didn't have any good dialogue sequences with anybody.
Who's the annoying rock creature from Thor?
Korg.
This is Korg, basically, then.
Not really. Korg was
even worse.
No, Korg was endearing.
No,
in Ragnarok.
I'm saying
in Ragnarok, he was annoying in
Love and Thunder.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to pivot so far. I'm just saying, like, he's equivalent to Love and Thunder Korg to me, because he's just like trying to.
Ragnarok Korg is endearing, and Endgame, and Endgame Thor Korg. He didn't really need to be Love and Thunder. Well, Love and Thunder didn't need to happen, But yeah, MODOK, he just has no point in this movie.
No.
And he dies. Yeah, he should have been saved for like a TV show or something. Again, he can be a fun villain in certain ways they use him, and it's like I was hoping he would be saved for like the Fantastic Four or something, but like nah. So yeah.
I will say that he's not the Fantastic Four's villain. He's Captain America's villain.
No, I know. No, but he's fun I think he's fun like when he has to interact with the Fantastic Four.
Also, yeah, everything you said,
I know. He's not.
I agree with
He's not anybody's. Currently, I guess. I know he originally from Captain America's comic. He's just an overall villain throughout the Marvel universe. He can fight. He can be paired up with anybody. I think his most interesting role is like when he's a Fantastic Four villain.
I was fine with him all the way up until this sold it was Darren, and when as soon as shit Darren, and then shit just went downhill from there. I could not, any scene he was in, I just could not take it seriously. No, because as soon as I saw that stupid face, I was just like, "Are you fucking with me?" And then everyone's reaction, Darren. I'm just like, and it just kept going. Everyone saw
through almost the end of the movie.
Even in his death, which is played off as a joke, and it's just like, what the fuck was the point of this? Why did you introduce this villain of all the things you introduced? And I get it. He's more comedic in nowadays. But when he was first introduced, he wasn't meant to be comedic. He wasn't meant to.
That's why I was hoping they saved him, because he can be serious later. But they just killed him, making his whole appearance. Making this like I was like, okay, this movie's introducing him. Nope, it's just his whole appearance in this movie.
And then they try to save face by having him become a good guy at the end, and it's just like
how Disney animated was don't be an asshole, and then he's just I'm not an asshole. I'm not an asshole now. I'm gonna save Kang.
Here's the thing. I like that little joke, but his death scene went on for too long.
What joke?
It is.
I don't think that was even final. That was terrible.
No, not when he's dead. I don't know. I guess I just like the dialogue where he was like, "Look at me." I
just thought it was wasting time. I'm like, what the? I don't know if you're a dick or not.
I guess I like the line, not the dialogue. I just like the line. Look at me, I'm a dick.
Yeah, but they're like.
I guess the delivery of that one line.
It was like the movie stopped when she stopped and looked at him as he was on the ground, and I'm like, what?
It was stupid. I guess I like the delivery of that dialogue.
What are we doing?
Of that line.
Every scene he was in, I was just not focusing.
The scene where he dies is the worst.
The problem was they tried to make it seem serious. It wasn't serious. It was joking around. Even as he died, they all just turned around and went on his business as usual. It was not a big deal. He didn't have to show it. He could have fell into a ravine and been done with it.
Yep.
He could have fallen down off one of these platforms in the quantum realm.
And that's all they had to do, and they just kept going. But man, every scene I was just in, as soon as he took off that helmet, I was fine when he first showed up, and then he had no voice. And the helmet was still there. And as soon as it dropped and they said Darren, I was done. It could have done so much more with this character, because at one point MODOK becomes the of Hive. He becomes the leader of Hive.
Okay.
So yes, Hive. He becomes the leader of Hive. So he could have appeared in further movies as like a secret villain of that organization. But no, they played it off as a one-liner joke. They could have. They could just have some. He could have had some run-of-the-mill sidekick type character that just showed up to help Kang. Anyone would have done that. Why did it have to be MODOK?
Right.
It's not a great game, but they have an interesting, realistic approach to MODOK in the Square Enix Adventures game in that story mode.
Okay.
He's more he's more humanoid, and he's like more of a threat in that game.
That's again, I just
because when I saw that, I was like, okay, so this is what the MCU's MODOK's gonna be like. Nope. No. It's gonna be I'm surprised they went all out and actually made it comic booky, but they did in the worst way.
In the worst way, yeah. I just the wrong choice. Because if you were to... I guess that it does make sense, because in the story he dies in the same story as that is Ant-Man, so of course Darren Cross makes sense, but if you're going to keep him around, Darren Cross would have made almost zero sense. He just doesn't fit the role. It's just a terrible choice. You could have had someone a lot more poppy or fun that would have played with the role, or even more just someone that's more the ability to be more expressive in either seriousness or fun or quirkiness than the actor that plays Darren Cross, because it just makes it so sort of bland, and what they did with him, it's just terrible.
I'm saying don't use MODOK at all.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
Like,
yeah,
it should have been some run-of-the-mill little grunt that was doing all of this. This is comedic thing. They should say MODOK for something more important or something on the line.
Or like I think they shouldn't have MODOK in this movie. They could have had it in. They could have had him somewhere else. Because I think he's still an interesting villain, but not this one, not this MODOK. But the thing is, I think Darren still could have been in this movie, because he did in first Ant-Man didn't super shrink down.
He just shrank down. Right?
Yeah, so
he just shrank down.
Yeah, so he could have been in the Quantum Verse, but just Darren.
He could have just been a villain.
He could have just Darren. You could have had just Darren there.
And then he's also you also have Kang.
This movie actually probably would have made even more sense. It was like Darren is just there, and he's just working with Kang. Yeah, that's it. It's not MODOK. MODOK is a villain on Earth somewhere else. So that's happening later. Yeah, this was this whole thing was stupid.
So you fucked up the concept, and then you got rid of the concept. It is.
Yeah, but you know what they didn't fuck up, ladies and gentlemen?
Pizza.
Kang!
They didn't fuck up Kang. Martin, lead us in. What do you feel about the big villain that's going to lead us to the Kang Dynasty in 2025 or 6?
Absolutely.
What do you think?
Absolutely amazing. Every scene he was in, he just took control of that scene. That scene was his. That movie might as well Scott Kang, because man, he was. I thought it was bad. And there was not a scene or any scene where I was disappointed in him at all.
He's a great actor. Isn't he in Creed 3?
Yes.
Yeah, it makes me want to watch the Creed movies now.
That's right. Yeah.
He is so intimidating at parts. I felt like when he was in that prison scene where he held up his daughter and turned it out like. I felt like he would just really do it. Like if he hadn't said just then, I'm just gonna do this.
Gonna kill her.
Yeah, because there are a lot of villains in the MCU who doesn't feel like they would kill the kid. Right. But he felt like he was just like, I'm gonna do what I'm saying. I'm gonna put through what I was saying, because that is great.
And he feels like he's almost crying in his dialogue. And
he feels somber for it, but he knows he has to do it.
Yeah, and it's also like even more matching, because his scars make it look like tears.
Yes.
Did you anybody finish Loki?
No.
Okay.
I will say I'll talk about that later.
Well, you should watch at least get to the last episode or watch the last episode of Loki, because that's when you first get introduced to Kang.
Oh, the scene with the throne room scene.
Yes.
I've seen, yeah.
That's a great scene with him.
Yes.
And
he's not Kang there, though.
Huh?
He's not Kang there, though.
You mean the Conqueror?
He's not the Conqueror. He's Kang.
He can call himself Kang then.
But he is Kang.
He is Kang.
No.
He's not the Conqueror Kang, but he's
a version of Kang.
I know he's a version of Kang, but you can't really call versions of Kang, because
you have to, because one of the end credit scenes we see a billion of them, so of course
and
we're going to call them Kangs.
I'm going to leave it to later, because I feel a problem coming up with that.
I do too, but we'll talk about that later. But anyway,
that's probably a thing in the comics. In this MCU iteration, they called him Kang.
Anyway, the Kang from Loki, as you were saying.
Yes, the Kang, the Kang from Loki,
the Burger Kang.
Yeah.
Yes,
but the Kang from Loki, that scene. I think that's a great final scene, because it's not a flying laser battle. It's just a very airy tense scene of them talking to Kang, and he's discussing calmly you have this choice. You can either I guess let me live, or if you kill me, all the other Kangs will
be able to unlock their potential.
Will unlock their potential, and it's like the way he plays, like I don't think the ending. I also think the ending of Loki, story wise, is just. But that whole scene with him.
So much tension, so much suspense. It's like, oh my god,
great! It is great.
Yeah.
And he's just a great actor, and I look forward to more of him. I think because that post-credit scene.
Again, we'll talk about that, but that's a big question right there.
Yeah, because that mid-credit scene is like it's looking like those Krangs are playing more.
Krangs, yeah, those Krangs are
from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
But those Kangs are playing.
Those Kangs are like they seem more like villainous. Like we should attack him. Attack! They seem more like high value because like it looks like the because we had the nice Calm King and Loki, and we had like a very somber,
a very absolute, I would say, Kang, where he's just. I have to do this. I need to get back. This is my goal.
Yes,
if I have to kill your daughter, I'll do it. Like
menacing with Somber King and
the main King.
Yes.
So like, I hope there's like the same type of angles for whatever King we're getting.
Whatever these other goofier Kangs are. Yeah. But look. So when I saw Kang here, I thought in my head, I'm like, okay. So imagine Infinity War, right? Because Infinity War is it's about our Avengers, but it's also about Thanos very much. Imagine if Infinity War was a very bland, if not terrible movie, but all the Thanos parts were great. That's the equivalent here to Ant-Man. Because every time that he's on screen, as you mentioned, Martin, he's amazing. And in fact, he uplifts the movie. The beginning scene is interesting because you don't know where it's going to go. He just pops up. It's like, fuck, okay. Every scene where it's Scott Lang and the daughter and he's again, this is the whole thing. This is the whole fucking thing with also, like we talked about, the promotional shit. Like, I thought they were going to give him so much more valuable dialogue than just what he said to Scott Lang, where it's like, all right, I can kill her. And then that just ends and closes off. And then we go back to the other plot, as you talked about. I thought that this plot was so underutilized with Kang because there's so much you could do with him. And you just kind of don't. You're just kind of like, all right, I hope he doesn't get it. And then he gets it, and he almost gets it. And by the way, I think Kang logically would not have let himself or Ant-Man hit the energy core at all. Very convenient that at the end battle, he at some point he gets thrown into the energy core. I just don't think that Kang would have he's incredibly intelligent, right there on the edge of getting out. He's not going to do that. And also, he's not going to lose to fucking ants, guys. Like, I'm sorry. He's not going to lose to ants.
By the way, that end battle, very, like, very discount store version of Endgame / Rise of Skywalker battle right there in the ending.
Yeah.
Like, that's what was going through my head when I was looking at that ending battle. I was like, you guys already did this. Like,
my headcanon for that is that he ain't dead. Because when he got sucked into that core, my headcanon is that he's not dead. Cause
no, I'm not talking about when he gets sucked into the core. I'm saying he's right there at the portal.
Yeah.
And in the fight, like, at some point, I think either he gets thrown into it or he throws Lang into it.
What I'm saying.
I just don't think that... No, I know that at some point he gets pulled in, but I'm saying if he's right there to get outside, he's going to find a... He moved his daughter like that, like 30 minutes ago, runtime-wise. He just moved her across the room, and you're telling me that he's just going to be like, yeah, all right. And then Scott gets to say, both of us have to lose. Like, he's not going to let it get there. Like, I just don't believe it. He's not going to let it get there. He's not going to let himself get further down into the fucking core of this beast, or weapon, or tool, or whatever the fuck, energy power source. He's going to solve it right there, because if he's as bad as you claim he is, we're not just going to have a Saturday morning cartoon ending where everything's good and he's potentially dead but not dead. Like, he gets out. I'm sorry. Like, that final battle, he gets out. I don't see whatever they wrote in this movie. I just don't see it as real.
All right, so I guess we're gonna get to the endings and the post credits.
Well, I mean, we're not there yet. We're still at the battle, but I mean, you guys had no thoughts on it.
I was like, my headcanon is that something during that fight, he thought about something and he allowed himself to lose at that point. I'm not saying because like
Possible, I guess.
even if he'd have gotten out, they know he's out there. They're just gonna send everyone after him.
Who?
Like
who's gonna send anyone to stop him? He gets into San Francisco.
I'm not
everyone's fucked.
No,
but they're too.
no, he's not gonna get because like
but it's
Kang
too
doesn't
early.
have any superpowers. Like he doesn't have any superpowers. Everything you saw him doing, that's for a suit, and you saw it got destroyed when he was in the middle of the fight. So I'm like saying, once he gets out there, he's basically just a normal human being because the King doesn't have any power. He has control over time, but it's still more like because he stole time tech.
Right.
In order to do that stuff. And all that stuff, all his powers and everything, unless the MCU gave him powers. Because the real King don't have no powers.
Okay.
Like, so I'm saying is, once
I don't know. He just seemed too bloodthirsty.
Like,
even if he has no power, he seemed way too bloodthirsty to just give it up that way.
My headcanon is that he allowed himself to get that because he saw some potential when Scott Lang thought he was doing something smart and throwing all those tags on there. He might have thought something like, oh shit, maybe this is another chance for me. Let me grab those off him. Or allow himself to get caught or caught that thing. Let them believe that he lost. This is just my headcanon.
That's fair.
I could be completely wrong.
Sure.
Because I agree with you. Kang shouldn't have lost at all.
A bunch of fucking ants get in the way. Like I just again.
I killed multiple Avengers. I can't remember.
I've killed right. It's like I can't remember. Like you said,
killed Avengers,
but ants.
Well, also he could, like even though he was dominant in that fist fight between him.
Get the fuck out of here.
Even though he was dominant between him, that fist fight between him and Scott Lang, he should have not been taking any punches whatsoever.
Also, this is not Kang, but
for someone who killed multiple Avengers,
still, even if he's not the big bad Kang, it's like I need him to like show he's the big villain of the entire fucking MCU now, and he almost got beat by Ant-Man. And by the way, everyone that watched the movie that's a normie thinks Ant-Man won against Kang, by the way.
No.
Yes. So, like this Kang. So if you know that Ant-Man beat one of the Kangs, now you know every time you see him on screen, well, until this Avengers movie comes out, it's like, oh, well, I don't know, who the fuck cares? It's Kang. I love the villain, but who the fuck cares? It's Kang.
But let's say
this
is a side note from Kang. This is more like the fight with Kang.
Yeah.
Their powers don't work right. Like the fact that they're super small, even if they grew bigger, they shouldn't be getting tired or anything because
they're in the quantum realm.
Yeah. So it didn't make sense for them to like when I'm
hungry, I'm exhausted,
all that stuff like that. None of that makes sense. And Wasp herself should be able to grow really big as well. Because again, they're in the quantum realm. Unless like their suits just suddenly regulated themselves for quantum realm, and made it so that the quantum realm
that's the assumption. Because what this movie presents is like the quantum realm as a different universe.
Yeah, but they still use the PEM particles to get smaller. They're small, so their biggest sizes, even if they grew bigger. They shouldn't be getting tired. They shouldn't be. They should have wasted that city just by stomping on it. When I first was like, yeah, they should have been able to get huge.
Right.
Not just that one size the one size they got.
Because that's the whole point is they grow back to the size of being able to get back to Earth level.
They could have easily just like made their own explanation, but they didn't.
They never brought it up in the movie why it was like that. They were just saying.
Nothing hypothetically blocked them. Apparently.
So I was like so what you're saying? They regulate the suits just automatically regulate.
That was going through my mind when I was watching the movie. Like, can't they and just like press the big button thing and just like get big?
Yeah.
I'm out of the quantum realm now because I just grew big.
And that was another problem. Like at the end when the portal showed up, I was like, why don't he just grow big?
Yeah.
Like.
Why is it a portal?
Why the portal? Why did I need a portal to get back to it? You didn't need a portal to get here in the first place. Y'all just got sucked and shrunk, right?
Yeah.
What's the portal for?
This is very strange.
I was like, that makes no sense. I'm like, why no one just grow?
Whoever wrote this movie had no clue about how.
How specifically did they shrink him through a signal?
I think it's just my headcanon again is that when she's sitting the signal down there. Kang locked onto it and just yanked them. Paint the but that didn't make sense because that means he has PEM particles in order to shrink them.
But he also would have known immediately where they were, and I mean, like, it's just like it doesn't make sense. Like he knows where they are, but he doesn't know where they are at first.
Yeah, I brought
no clue.
I brought this up to my roommate. Is like, well, two things that doesn't make sense about that signal thing. It's like, one, how do they know like whoever was saying the signal is anyone even related to Janet? Second, Kang wanted to get out of the quantum realm. Couldn't he use a signal to like get out of it?
Like travel through a signal format.
No, he would have used
a portal thingy.
Yeah. Use a signal to escape the quantum realm instead of bringing somebody to the quantum realm. It's not explained how it works.
He probably could have, but he still needs his little stupid core in order to do anything with time.
He still can just get out of the quantum. No, he wanted the core to get out of the quantum realm.
Right, and the key that I will always remember.
He wants the core to get back to the people who threw him into it.
Yes, but he still wants to get out of the quantum realm.
And I think
it would have been more effective if he just got out of the quantum realm.
That's the thing. He just wanted to get out.
He wanted to do that at the ending too. He was trying to go through that portal.
Right. By the way, again, last thing about this movie, before we get to the end credit scene, unless you guys have any other points, I just don't understand the whole concept that there's a universe so far below the quantum realm, but like not two universes above this. Like they act like they jump up, and then there's not a universe above this universe between Earth and like 47 other universes. Because it's like the entire concept of the quantum realm was like, okay, so you have the bacteria level and all that shit, and molecular level and all that. It's like, why isn't there a universe on like the molecular level then? Why isn't there like? So you're telling me that there's only this one?
Think they were,
there's only one universe.
I think they were hinting at that when they first was just flying through the levels. Like I think they were just like, we're just gonna bypass that altogether and get to the quantum.
Right, but you know what I mean. Like,
I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I think they were trying.
It would have been too confusing.
Yeah, let's just throw it away. Let them show them shrinking, going through the levels, and then end up in quantum.
Yeah,
that's all. That's what I think it is.
Absolutely. All right. Let's get into that mid-credit scene.
Well, I wanted to get to the ending. I like the ending of like Scott thinking over everything, and it's like
that was
start like everything like the intense music as he's talking to himself inside his head.
This was no payoff though. I don't know.
It wasn't the thing. Well, also was like I got disappointed because usually when it comes to certain movies, it's like I don't want to see the real world. I want to see the fantasy world. For me, in this movie, it was the opposite. It was like I want to get out of this quantum world, and I want a conflict. And I want a conflict in the human world.
Yes.
And it's like I thought I was going to leave up to some kind of cliffhanger because there was intense music and Scott was thinking to himself, "Wait, we didn't stop Kang, did we? Is something bad's going to happen?" He said he was alert to something, and it's like, oh shit, it's like a giant spaceship about to fly over San Francisco or something, and it's like. No, everything's just gonna be fine. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, I ain't worried about that.
Yeah. I did like. Oh, well, also I thought it was like a fun scene right there, a little fun scene. But I was hoping like something happened there, and like I guess I was just hoping for a conflict to happen in San Francisco, or like I usually don't like cliffhangers in the regular movie part and save them for the post credit. But like I wouldn't have mind a cliffhanger there because it's such a big movie.
I don't know. I will say, like, this was like a step before what Doctor Strange did, which is, it pulls out his third fucking eye out of the blue. It's like, all right, well, cool. And then you get the next scene after that, which is he's jumping into a portal with what's her name. It's like,
and he's already used to the eye.
It's like, you know what? I'll just accept. Just accept that Scott Lang.
You described it wrong. Here's what happened in the ending of Doctor Strange. The ending of Doctor Strange is like he's like walking down the street and everything's happening, and like Doctor Strange's like third eye is happening, and it just cuts to credits. Yeah. It's like, oh shit, what's happening? And then it cuts to the post credit scene. Doctor Strange is walking down the street saying, I got a third eye now. He's just fine.
Yeah.
He's just fine. That bothered me so much. That was a terrible post-credit scene.
Yeah.
I think it's just out of order, or somebody added
there's someone who runs a multi-billion-dollar company had no logical decision-making to say, hey, we should probably do something else except for this at the very end, because it doesn't make sense that you cut from this to this. Did he learn how to control his third eye between learning about the filmography people like with the other
that post credit scene just the start of that post credit scene bothered me because like the movie itself ends with him suffering and screaming.
Yes, he's in real pain.
And then the post credit scene is like
That's like
walking down
like,
the street with my third eye.
That's literally how like drug advertisers like think you're gonna feel after you take their drugs. Like, you know, if you have intense third eye pain, it's like take this, and he did it, and then now it's like uncomfortable. But,
facing withdrawals.
But back to
back to the end of the movie. Or
we're talking about the last post credit thing.
I'm talking. What do you want? Where are you on?
Because
the first
I want to talk about post credits. You can talk about the
mid credits. You're talking mid credits.
Let's go to mid credits first.
I'll talk about post credits.
No, because he was talking about Doctor Strange.
No, I'm going to talk about mid credits now for Ant-Man.
All right, go
We're
ahead.
about to end this podcast.
Absolutely, we're rolling for a bit.
I mean, our pizza's getting cold.
Yes.
The mid credit scene, it didn't like. I was hoping it would be, because we haven't had a mid credit scene in a while that like gave me the
that
vibe.
has value.
That has value, or gave me the vibe of like, oh shit. And this post credit scene still didn't do that. It was just like, we're a bunch of Kangs, and we're gonna fight. We're gonna be a threat for the Avengers. We're an army, and we're just gonna fight them in game style again. We're gonna do the end game. Yeah, we're gonna do the end game scene again.
Since I know who these characters are and the threat they pose,
you're actually excited.
Yes, I know. Like, oh my gosh, I know who these characters are.
And for someone who doesn't read like many of the comics, it's just like, for me,
it's absolutely understandable if you know nothing of Kang, because there are a lot of him.
That's what that scene looked like, because like it is like that's what the threat they're presenting is like. We're gonna come to the a regular Earth, and we're gonna beat up everyone, and we got an army, so we're gonna do the end game. We're gonna do the end game climax again. That's what it looks like. And like the thing about that scene is, like, it's interesting that they show a bunch of Kangs, but like what I would like it better, like I said earlier, like they should have had like a Baskin Robin Kang there, but like they should have had like other weird looking Universal Kangs there, like, because it's Kangs from different universes in the audience. Would have been cool is like probably like a this is not Disney movie, but like probably like a 2D Spider-Verse Kang in there. But like, or what they could have done that wouldn't make sense is like Kangs that look like the different versions of like the universes where Doctor Strange went through in Multiverse of Madness, because like they went through like a paint universe, they went through like an animated universe to look like, they went through like universes that like that gave them,
universe,
they make the universes of different styles. It would have been interesting to have them referenced with different Kangs that look like that in that audience. So that's what they should have did. So like that's why they could have brought a couple things around with that post credit thing to make it more hyper, to make it more interesting. But like that was a missed opportunity.
Absolutely.
Well, I do have to say, though I enjoyed that seeing all those Kangs at the end. I have to say it might be a problem, because like the Kang in the movie was way too good. It's just like phenomenal. Yes. To have him like seemingly die, and then showing all these other Kangs, they're not goofy. They might not able to live up to the expectation of it, because
I can't take him seriously with any fucking hat. He was absolutely serious without any hats at all.
More this, I know.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
More this had the dumbest hat ever.
Fucking hat. I'm not gonna take him seriously. I'm just gonna tell you that.
Rama Tut is a very cool version of Kang, and also can introduce both the mutants or Fantastic Four.
Right.
Because he fights both Apocalypse, and he fights both.
Well, a lot of people fearing because
fights the Fantastic Four as well.
Yeah, because it's a multiversal saga, we're also going to see like universes from Marvel movies that wasn't made by Disney.
Yeah.
So like I'm saying like that'd be.
They would Disney would love that, because I'd just sell more tickets. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Again, thank you, Spider-Man.
The problem is. Since they have all these versions of Kang, and they're not the Kang we saw in this movie, we might have people, the normie looking at it going like, wait, I don't care about these Kangs. I don't care about any of these. Right. I want the guy who was in Ant-Man.
Right.
They'll look at that and they go look, because they're gonna have to put up a
disclaimer or something
to show you, like, and people like,
these are better Kangs, or here's another.
They're not better Kangs, because that Kang is the King that lasted the longest.
I have to ask
all the Kangs.
Wait. The Kang that just died from ants was the longest lasting Kang.
Yes, that Kang is the Kang that's always there. Rama Tut.
Wait, stop. And He just died fighting ants.
I don't think he's died. I don't think he's dead.
Sure, but he lost in a fight to Ant-Man. And you're telling me he's the longest running. He's the longest lasting
Kangs always
Kang.
go back.
This MCU has had inconsistencies. I mean, within this movie, I mean, fucking Baskin Robbins,
Jesus
Scott Lang is
Christ.
is genius writing.
Sure, whatever.
But like, they're going to live to a high bar because this King did such a good thing, and
Yes.
a lot of people aren't going to care about it enough because, besides the fact that they're like King, they're not going to go by those names.
No.
In the movie, they're going to go by.
But people are just going to say, "Hey, Egyptian Kang."
Kang, and they're like, "No, this is this Kang, and this is this." Kang.
And I don't think people give. And I'm going to be honest. I don't think people give a fuck.
Not
I don't.
care.
I'm going to be honest. I don't know if I give a fuck. Look, I got to. Before you go any further, I just got to say, look, like. When that mid-credit scene went through, it's like it started rolling, and I was fine with the 3. I think they should have stopped at the 3 because showing people that it's almost a careless amount. I know that that's what's real and out there, but like you said, you instantly lost me because it's like you remember Mark? You remember like the SpongeBob episode, or Mark? You remember the SpongeBob episode where Squidward has all those alarm clocks? And he just like keeps bashing him. That's like those are all Kangs, right? Those are all Kangs, and the MCU characters that are heroes are gonna have to defeat all the alarm clocks.
You should like you gotta animate. I mean, you gotta
meme
that GIF. You gotta meme that GIF.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I'm just saying, the minute that they showed the whole Coliseum, you lost me. If you just showed me 3 more, or maybe maybe you show a Kang that looks almost identical to the Kang that was in Ant-Man, right? And it fades out from black, and you see him. And then he's talking, and then the camera slowly pans and shows one of the other Kangs that was revealed. I'm just going to call him Egyptian Kang. And then another Kang, and then it's like, and then that's it. Right? Just quick. I don't need to know there are a billion fucking Kangs. I just need to know that Kang has more than one version of himself. You showed the entire world that there's like 31 flavors of Baskin Robbins ice cream. I just knew that there was one flavor of Baskin Robbins ice cream, and now I know that we have to defeat all 31 flavors to win the war. I don't give a fuck about the other 30 flavors. I just give a fuck about the one Baskin Robbins flavor because he had a solid backstory. He's been there the longest. He actually threatened one of the Avengers that we know. He apparently fought other Avengers, so we knew he's seasoned, and now he's dead. And he was the longest one. How do I give a fuck about any of them that haven't lived longer? What?
I can't wait for the end of the next Avengers movie, and like they defeat all the Kangs, and then like it looks like they won the war, but then you feel like a rumbling, and it's like, oh no, it's me, the powerful of all the Kangs.
Yes.
Kang.
That was just stupid.
That's the King for you.
Yeah. Did you have anything else that you?
No, I will say I was on defending it to the tiny.
No, go, please. You know about the source material.
The Council of Kang. You don't have to worry about the Council of Kang.
By the way, I just need to ask you a question since you know these characters. So with in the last Avengers movie. With Kang, do you see like the Endgame shot happening again? Because that's what I think. That's what I'm thinking about.
It's so disgusting.
The Endgame.
That's gonna look so cheap because Marvel can't even afford to do that.
Two armies, army of heroes, army of Kangs colliding, and then boom, 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 boom.
Not like that.
Because this movie did it. Rise of Skywalker did it.
It's not gonna be a Kang army of people, an army of Kangs running at the Avengers. That's not gonna happen.
Right.
Yeah, that's what they're presenting us though. That's what it looks like.
The way that they're all excited to fight.
Yeah.
Kangs don't typically get along.
Okay.
So for them to have the council, they're all conniving. They stab each other in the back if they had the chance.
I wish they showed.
So it's like Loki.
Yeah. So the only ones you really have to worry about are the 3 you saw. They're the most powerful. They're the ones who.
But that's even worse. Because then that just tells me that those shitty Kangs.
Those scenes you saw would just let you know that there's an infinite number of Kangs. That scene is actually ripped right out of the comic book. Like that's a comic strip. Like that.
That's awesome.
But
it's awful.
But it's all I get it. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yes.
You don't have to worry about it. It's a throwaway thing to let you know, like, there's an infinite possibility of Kang. It's basically validating the end of Loki. The last episode of
Right,
last
but-
episode of Loki.
Okay.
Right, but
Validating.
how about just saying three of them? Just showing three of them would have been legitimately enough, though.
Yeah, I agree, but this still it's letting people know that there's always another Kang. Like, no matter how many times you kill him, no matter how many times you fight him, there's always going to be another Kang. You can end up fighting that same Kang over and over again. Because, like I said, the main one that just died is actually the main Kang and the one that keeps coming
The
back.
one keeps coming back. Yeah. Hey man, talking about a Kang that I'm actually interested in because of the idea. Let's talk about this very last end credit scene, which is actually just another trailer or teaser for another thing that Marvel is working on, which is Loki season.
Oh, when I saw
you talking about that?
Yes,
Loki.
the
I
end
thought you were talking
credit
about
scene.
the Doctor Doom Kang.
What? There was no Doctor Doom scene in the end credits.
Oh, okay.
What? What are you talking about?
No, don't worry about it.
Okay, so sure, maybe there's a Doctor Doom Kang in
Don't worry about it.
in the mid-credit scene, but let's move on to the end credit scene.
I don't like the way
I
you
just
said
don't
that.
need.
You gotta-
I just don't need enough. No, I just don't need any more of that throne room scene. Whatever the fuck bullshit. Coliseum. I don't need to know. What I need to know though is what did you guys think of the? Because I was actually way more interested. It like got me way back in.
I enjoyed
that gave me more like. That gave me more interest in the first end credit scene because I don't read the comics. I didn't know what that scene meant.
Yeah.
But like
I forget his name, but that's the King that went back to that time period.
Yes.
Made a business of himself. Got really rich.
That gave me more interest in the story, and it gave me more interest in Loki season 2, and also it was like fine. It was also like, oh, finally Loki is important because the concept of Loki was like it seemed like it was going to be very important to the MCU because it was the first like big multiversal thing in the beginning of Phase 4.
No, actually, more the opposite. Because remember, a lot of people were wondering, well, he's dead, so why does it matter? And then as it went on, it became more significant.
Right? No. In terms of the whole concept of Loki, in terms of it introduced the TVA.
Yes.
And it's talking about the multiverse.
No, but I'm saying before it premiered. I'm saying.
I'm talking about the show itself.
But you're just talking about the show itself.
I'm talking about the show itself.
All right. Show itself. Moving on.
Yes, it's very important to the MCU because it introduced a new aspect to the multiverse.
Yes.
And it's like which is the TVA, and because of that, you expect anything that has to do with the multiverse. This movie has to get this show has to get referenced at some point because this is a big deal, and it's kind of like a major should be a major plot point for the new saga of the MCU, and like I was waiting for it to get referenced in Doctor Strange. It didn't. Okay, well Loki is a Thor character. It's going to get referenced in Love and Thunder. It didn't. It's getting referenced nowhere else, and like. Finally, with this movie, I was like, okay, no Loki reference. He's not going to mention another.
But is this a Loki reference?
Huh?
Thor doesn't know you live.
I know. No, I thought like.
No, but there was no. But he's saying there was no reference.
So, I know. What I'm saying is.
You would hope to see something.
Loki is a character that comes from Thor, so I was hoping some kind of post-credit scene with Loki because like this show was.
Okay.
This show wasn't.
I thought you meant throwing
it doesn't have to line up with the story of Love and Thunder. I'm just saying.
And we're glad for it.
Yeah. I'm just saying like. It's not the show. The show seems important to the MCU, and it's not getting referenced anywhere.
Right.
And it should have mainly been referenced in Multiverse of Madness, but in a post-credit scene, but not even there.
Okay, but that I think they're just trying to keep the fact that Loki's back on down low. Like
I know
they don't want anyone of the main Avengers or anyone who
they don't have to.
Well,
they don't have to. I'm just talking about the concept in general, just getting referenced like slightly, or like at least in a post credit scene, and to any of these movies. No, and I'm not talking about any of these characters have to know about the whole TVA or Loki.
You're talking about something about Loki.
Something about Loki in general,
because we went through so many tracks that could have implemented him. But didn't. That's all. That's it.
Yeah, because and like when this end credit scene came out, and I was like, oh my god, finally they actually gave some importance to Loki.
Yes.
And it gave me more interest to like what the whole story is with these Kangs. because we've seen like the first Kang there, and now I'm more excited to see what season 2 of Loki is.
The first Kang.
Well, that's my thought.
No, that's not the first Kang.
It's not the first Kang, but like it's like.
But what is this Kang doing?
Yeah, what is this?
I'll tell you. I will tell you what he's doing.
I know you just did. You just did. I'm talking about my initial viewing. Fuck you. But anyway, shut up. But you were not there when I was watching the movie. But like it made me more interesting in the whole Kang story.
Yeah.
Is seeing that Kang in old timey.
Yes.
In old timey. So like, okay, there's more to this Kang story than just he's just gonna come and beat up everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, like what is this variant going to be doing?
Yeah.
Because
he's not. I know. Shut up.
Yeah.
Fucking nerd. But anyway, he's not hostile. He's presenting an invention,
No.
and it's like there's some kind of cynical. Shut up. There's some kind of cynical like thing. You feel like there's something cynical going on like in the background, and then Loki, like you see Loki, and he's worried. Like after seeing this Kang,
yes.
So like that was a more interesting post-credit scene.
I will say, as much as I've said that I really don't like the fact that Loki is so self-centered. Once I saw Loki's face, I was like, God damn it, I'm back into it. Fuck. All right. It's so cool to see Loki. Tom Hiddleston. He's a great fucking actor. It's cool to see him again. I'm roped right back in. I don't give a fuck about Owen Wilson in this show at all.
Oh, wow.
But like...
That's his reaction to your comment.
But like, I just think we keep seeing more with Jonathan Majors, and we're going to see more of Tom Hiddleston, and hey, man... All right, fuck it. You got me in even more so now. But we have no release date, by the way, for Loki season 2 yet,
know that.
which is very strange. You're going to post this, but you're not going to get people to subscribe immediately. You're not going to say, we're not going to drop Loki season 2, or anything. Not during the movie, because you usually wouldn't promote that in the movie. But I'm saying, like, you know what I mean? Anywhere online.
I'm just excited. I'm just excited for, like, this.
Is it replacing...
The Marvels? No. Well, it says mid-2023. This might be the beginning of it, kind of giving it breathing room for the streaming shows, but I just think that they were already going to plan to release it there.
Yeah, I'm excited for the for Loki season 2 when we get to the scene where they're going through different multiverses and they keep changing their appearance, and like they go into Cars universe, and like Owen Wilson's like, ooh, I'm a red car. Wow.
No, he has to do the whole. Whoa, what is that? Like, and he's got the wheels moving.
Yeah.
Whoa, what am I doing here?
Wow, ka-chow!
What are you doing, Lightning? Like, oh.
Yeah, Lightning, what are you doing there?
Yeah. All right. So let's wrap this up. What do you guys score this movie? I have a new scoring system, by the way. I'm gonna give this a 2 out of 5, which is an F+. In my new rating system, F+, 2 out of 5. If it's lower than a 3 out of 5, it's gonna get an F+. F+ for me.
I'll give it a meh out of 10.
Okay. So a 5 out of 10.
Basically.
All right, I have a new scoring system too. So I give this a square root 6 powered by 7 out of fuck I don't know
high score you're getting.
I don't fucking know math. I don't 0 divided by 0. It's like a fucking. I want to give it a 4 out of 10, but like the Kang scenes were good, so it's a 5 out of 10.
I can't even give it a minute because, like, look, the only thing raising my score from an F+ to an F from an F- is the fact that Kang's in it.
That's still below mediocre. If I thought it was mediocre, it'd be a 6 out of 10.
Do you remember the music in this movie? Just compare this to Knock It Out.
I don't remember the music in any Marvel movies except for the Avengers theme.
And how about Winter Soldier? No one remembers them. All right, fine.
I only watched. Okay, I only watched Winter Soldier once.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fucking pre-existing music.
But it's still in the Guardians.
Fuck you, no.
There's a lot of pre-existing. Suicide Squad had pre-existing music. No one remembers the fuck was in the Suicide Squad movie. No one cares. I know, but I'm just saying. He's referencing the fact that it's like pre-existing music. There was pre-existing music in Suicide Squad. Yes.
You don't want fucking prop music.
Yes.
I don't think that matters.
I'm just. It does to make the movie, yes. The directing was pretty bad for the most part. The scenes, the background.
I don't remember. So it's not a part of the score for me. I don't remember the fucking music from this.
It is a part. It's the soundtrack, what?
I know the sound the soundtrack is
to all listening. I do not care about the music in these movies.
The soundtrack doesn't matter in these Marvel movies. If it was like a fucking Disney animated movie.
I just want to tell you,
I would care about the music.
If we're reviewing movies equally, you're gonna care about the music like you care about Pixar music. Did they invest any time into the music?
Fuck it, 0 out of 10. I don't.
Now you're taking a sense
this movie has no problem.
Give it
the plot was good, the character was good, but I didn't hear them. I didn't remember any of the music. So Ant-Man Quantumania just kind of fell flat.
Because of the. No, I'm not saying it's a critical. Get this shut the fuck up.
Lazy Boy is running away from this conversation.
All I am saying is the music was not recognizable or memorable. The character direction was terrible outside of Kang. There were some story decisions that were pathetic. The journey sucked. The cameos sucked. How much can I tell you without it being,
Yeah, the only good thing about this movie was the villain, MODOK.
Alright, Mark, just give us a review. God damn it. Let's get us out of here. Please get us out of here.
Alright, 5 out of 10. It's just that's still below mediocre for me. If it was mediocre, but 6 out of 10.
But mediocre, but wait, 5 out of 10 is fine. 5 out of 10 is like it's
fine. It's like edging on mediocre.
But mediocre is 4.
4 is just below mediocre.
We'll watch it sooner than I will watch Thor 4.
Fine, 2 out of 5. Fuck you.
I don't know if I would watch anything sooner. Wait.
2.5 out of 5. There you go. Is that easy for you?
No, for him. Me, it's still a meh.
You still give it a 5 out of 10?
Yeah, still a 5 out of 10.
I ain't going through this. I ain't comparing it to a Thor movie.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you for watching the ScreenBlast podcast. As always, you can listen to us on almost any podcast service and find us on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe, like, and stay tuned.
And Brian edited good music in this fucking review, and you remember it. Give us a 5 star.